Please don't hear any of this, Brad.
And Dad's like, I got the fuck out of there. I was like, oh man, you didn't partake?
Do you fear death?
Oh, one of the greatest lines of all time.
I could have chopped it. I could have chopped it.
Trumpinator 2020.
Making me 30 sides of red sauce.
Listened so much. Are you
That needs two, motherfucker.
Brother, thank you for coming on, Dylan and Miss Peggy.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing him. What's up, man?
Nothing much.
We got one thing in common. We both got mullets going on here right now. What's happening there? They're coming back. Are you bringing them back?
Nah, I'm just growing my hair out.
Are you?
Happens to be a mullet though.
Happens to be
He
one
got
right
it
now.
permed. He never had a perm, so he got it permed because his hair's real straight.
So is that a perm mullet?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, nice, rocking it out in 2025.
Yeah.
I love it. And who we got with you here?
Rascal.
So what's the story with Rascal? When did you get him?
I got him around like the end of middle school. He was my aunt's dog originally,
Really?
but he kept breaking out of her backyard and running over to my house to stay with me.
Really? So he had an attachment to you already.
Yeah, no, if I leave him alone, he gets super mad.
So who's the emotional support? You or him?
We're both the emotional
You
support.
both. That's a good. All right, that's good. That's good. So
He's very old though.
how old?
Like, I think he's
Probably-
above 18.
Are you serious?
He's like
For a little
15,
dog like
between
that?
15 and 18, probably.
Jeez.
Yeah,
They don't
he's-
really know how old.
Yeah, we don't know how old he is, but he's
Yeah, he would
up
break
there.
out of the girl's house and run over to Dylan.
Yeah.
She couldn't get him to stay at the house.
Huh.
Yeah,
Well, that's kind of cute. What we got on here? A little bow tie?
yeah.
Is it a little plaid bow tie? I like that. So this is probably a short-haired animal, right? So you
Yeah.
don't have to do a lot of.
Grooming.
Yeah. A
lot of
other
grooming.
than
The
the
only-
nails.
The only grooming we got to do for him is his nails, because they grow so long they cross over,
Oh, yeah, I get that.
and he don't like. My mom tries to clip his nails, but he don't like that.
No, I find that dogs don't really care for it. We've got a little Shih Tzu, and we tried to cut his hair, but man, I don't even know what kind of torturous devices they have to put these animals in to do the grooming.
Well, they got that leash that is hooked onto that hole.
Is that what they
kinda-
do?
They can't move.
That's
out
got to
of
be a
there.
tough job,
Oh,
man. I couldn't.
Yeah, yeah. Because those dogs crying and stuff, that would just be horrible.
Yeah,
'Cause
Emmett
he does.
he got his back, he got his hip run over. He got backed over many years ago, and like he doesn't have feeling in one of his feet, and so one of his nails just continually keeps growing into his foot, and so we've got to get like basically the clippers that I used to cut guitar strings
Right.
to clip that nail
Oh,
off.
that-
Boy, he
dribble
hates it. So
down.
somebody's got to
Yeah.
like hold him down. It's so tough.
But you know that hurts.
I
Because when
know.
you get a hangnail, how much it hurts.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely. Right. How long have you had Rascal?
Uh,
You said since middle school. How old are you now?
I've been out since 2020.
2020. You graduated.
Yeah.
Right. Where'd you go to school?
Farmington.
The whole time?
No,
At West Fork, Greenland, then Farmington.
yeah, West Fork, and then finished elementary in Greenland,
Okay.
and then finished the rest of it in Farmington.
Which school did you like the best?
Uh, I don't know. I didn't like all of them.
I didn't like any of them.
There's too much social interaction going to school.
Okay. So you pretty introverted then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd also just sleep through my classes.
Right. So do you have any like an official diagnosis of anything?
I have diagnosis of autism,
Just
and I think ADD or ADHD,
right.
and just general anxiety.
Right. So like general anxiety disorder. Well, I have that as well. So that's a tough thing to cope with. How do you manage it?
I don't really know.
You just do
Stays
the best
at
you
home.
can.
Yeah. I
He doesn't
mean,
have to get out much.
yeah, no, I tend to stay at home and just play video games and interact with people from there.
So you are interacting with people online,
Yeah.
at least. So you got friends and you're
Yeah, I have friends that I would really trust my life with.
good. Well, that's awesome. So I'm assuming this is something you've had all your life.
Yeah.
Have you found that how has it affected you in your life, like your day-to-day life? Like, how do you view it? Like, how does it make you feel that this is an affliction that I have, but I'm still, a human being like everybody else?
I don't know.
That's hard for him to do.
That's a tough one.
His
Yeah.
sister has.
Yeah, my
autism.
sister has autism too, and so she came on the podcast and we talked about it because, for her, she loves coming out and hanging out with me and my buddies because we just treat her like anyone
She
else.
likes the social interaction.
Right. To a
To an
degree. She's
extent,
much
yeah.
more extrovert.
Right.
She's more extroverted than I am.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an introvert as well.
Right.
Like, I can do very well with people I trust.
Right.
And as I'm sure you probably do better around people you trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's comfortable because you also have shared memories and shared
Yeah.
histories. I've had a couple experiences with Miss
Yeah.
Peggy now, so I feel like we've gotten to know each other real
Right.
well. But I understand that. The general anxiety disorder for me is almost worse than anything. So you having that on top of the autism, like, do you ever get panic attacks or?
Usually whenever I have to do something I'm not comfortable with.
Or something you don't have experience with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it learning new things or?
Just, it's hard for me to, like, say how I feel, but it's usually whenever I have to go places that will have a lot of people.
Right. So it's like that, like big gatherings kind of thing, people you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that terrifies me too. There's nothing to be ashamed of there. Usually the conversation's pretty terrible. So what kind of games are you playing, man? I gotta talk to you. I'm a gamer too. Well, mostly retired, but
Battlefield,
alright.
game called Mountain Blade Bannerlord.
Alright. It's all online stuff?
Online and single player.
Okay, so you do some single player stuff as well. What are your favorite single player games?
Definitely Bannerlord being one of them.
What's it called?
Mountain Blade Bannerlord 2
Okay.
or something like that.
Okay. What kind of game is it?
It's
Banter War?
Bannerlord,
Banner Lord.
but it's a game where you have like a group of soldiers usually, and you have a clan and all that, and you can like go from the equivalent of rags to riches,
Okay.
and
He
it's
loves war.
yeah.
Is that online?
No,
Or
it's
is that single player?
It's got a multiplayer, but the main aspect of it is single player.
I got you. You seem very intelligent. You seem like a sharp kid. Do you feel like that stuff, like those kind of strategy games, is something that you like just naturally enjoy doing?
Yeah, since like elementary, I've played strategy games.
Really?
Yeah,
You ever do any tabletop stuff like D&D or tried
No,
any of
I
that
haven't.
stuff?
I haven't done it just yet.
No. World of Warcraft, any of that stuff? You ever
Well,
play that?
I've definitely played a little bit of World of Warcraft, but like only about an hour or so.
Only about an hour?
Yeah,
Okay.
Meanwhile,
so
other
not
games-
too much.
yeah.
Some of
If-
those dudes spend thousands of hours on that game, dude.
Oh, yeah,
It's
no,
insane. I've seen marriages ruined over World of Warcraft.
Wow. Is that where you build your own?
I mean, you play with different groups. Everybody's got different skill sets,
You-
and
you
I mean,
yeah,
build
you've
like
got
your own-
different. I know you've got different classes and races in it.
mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I play games similar to that. I play Final Fantasy and Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Really? All right, Final Fantasy, dude. What was the first one you played? Do you remember?
I've only played, I think it's Final Fantasy 14.
So hold on. So you graduated in 20? So what year were you born?
2002.
02? Nice. So puts you about 20 years younger than me. So yeah, okay. So you probably got in because I played the original Final Fantasy. Have you ever seen that one? The 8-bit.
No, but I can imagine.
It's a classic still. If you can get, do you like any like the old 8-bit kind of games, or do you mostly prefer new stuff?
Mostly for new stuff, but I've played games that are like the old.
Yeah,
They have the same graphic style as like the old Pokemon and all that.
yeah. Did you ever get into Pokemon at all?
Nah, I've watched it, but I barely ever played it.
Right. Did you remember when that Pokemon Go came out?
Oh.
Yeah,
When people were going around
Driving
catching those damn
around,
things?
yes.
yeah.
The hell?
Not everybody in my school, but people I knew were doing it.
Yeah.
Your sister wanted to take her. You'd have to take her. We need to go over here. Can we go over here and
Thankfully
catch
not.
one?
Thankfully not. But
What's your relationship with your sister like? Y'all pretty close?
It's getting better.
Sometimes.
it's getting better because me and her both get on each other's nerves.
That's what brothers and sisters do. No shame there. She pretty good sister though overall.
There's like a 7-year age difference there too.
She's younger, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's
Rascal.
15.
Where you going, old man?
He's sniffing around. I got the cats put away, so
Yeah, he is.
he's
gotta go
welcome to roam
explore.
around.
What is this?
Feel that.
We have another dog, but we can't bring him nowhere.
What's wrong with that one? He
She's
bite?
one of them, no, one of them big dumb
He's
pit bull.
Yeah, he's a pit
You
bull
know, look at
with.
y'all like,
He's
and
a
he
pit
thinks
bull.
he's a lap dog. Thinks he's rascal.
So you got the
size.
opposite of what Mo is. Mo is a little lap dog that thinks he's a
He's a
big
big
dog. You
dog,
got
yeah.
the big dog thinks he's a lap
Yes,
dog.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, the old man
Yeah.
over there. He's the same way about that. He's chased off like a Great Dane once.
Yeah? This old dude?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
he thinks
awesome.
he's big dog.
but now he ain't got no teeth now.
No, really? They falling out?
Yeah, by the time we took him to the vet to get him removed, he only had like 7 teeth left.
Really?
Yeah.
And then he would yawn in the tooth. That's what freaked Dylan out because he sneezed and slung a tooth out.
Yo.
And so then the other one wouldn't go back into the slot. So when he'd go to close his mouth, in the teeth.
Yeah.
So Dylan's like, "Oh my God, something's wrong."
Yeah. No,
So yeah, they just pulled all his teeth. He's fine now.
I'm an animal person though.
Awesome. What have you always been? Always loved animals?
Yeah, most of dogs I like dogs the most.
Okay. So this one obviously getting up there in age, that's always tough losing a pet. We lost our big dumb animal last year. She was obese and she was old, and man, we combed 100 acres looking for that dog, and she was 20 feet away from the house. She went just right off the holler, and it's so hard. And I understand that relationship. I had a dog when I was a kid, when I was young. We couldn't have pets in Florida. We're in a rental house, and so I got my first dog when we moved up to out in the country in Farmington. Man, there's no love like that love for an animal.
But a dog is unconditional love. It loves you unconditionally. You
I know it,
It doesn't
right?
matter if you yell at it. And,
Cats are bitches.
You know, right? Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
never. The boys made me get a cat.
Did
Well,
they?
I got it. It was a rescue,
Okay.
and the lady at work, she had found it in the rain in a storm, and it kept coming to her house, and
Yeah.
so she took it in, and so she posted it on Facebook. So I thought, okay, we'll go get it.
Why
It was
not?
pure white. And I
Just
had to
like
put-
your soul, Peggy.
Yeah, I had to put baby SPF on its ears. I mean, like she proved
So it wouldn't
me
burn?
a liar. Yes,
Wow.
because it's all white. And that's
So you
what the vet
inherited,
said.
like,
They're
this-
then they get cancer. They get skin cancer really bad. So you have
grief.
to put their ears if they're out in the sun to keep that SPF. And I'd have to get baby. So during the summer, I'd be putting it on her ears. And like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Man, I know people spend thousands of dollars on animals, on medication and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and
She was
it's
She was the
wild.
best cat.
Yeah.
And for me, it was even better because she didn't require attention.
Right.
She came in, she wanted fed, she'd sleep for a while, and then she'd go out and prowl all
Right.
night, and then come back and repeat the next.
Yeah.
You know, so
They get in those
that's when
habits,
she got
those
that
routines.
feline
Yeah.
tick bite. And then she didn't come home for like 5 days, and I was like, oh my God. I was fixing to go out in the woods behind our house. It's a field. It's not woods.
Yeah.
But I was going to go out there, and Frank's like, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to walk that field until I find her.
Yeah.
So, but she came back, and
Good.
she was very sick, and lasted about 3 days. So,
That's a bummer.
Yeah. But we had her for 15. So she was probably 18 years old when she died.
Yeah, we had 3 cats when we moved in here. I had one, my wife had one when we got married, and we found one together, a rescue.
Yeah.
And they all, a couple hunting dogs from the neighbors that moved in up here got loose and got a hold of my cat and killed him. 15 years I've been sleeping with that cat as my cuddle pillow.
Yeah.
And it's just something that, it's just, it's almost, I mean, it's every bit as devastating as losing a
Oh,
person.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, more so,
Yes.
depending on the person.
Yeah, right.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, would you say you like dogs the best? Have you ever had any other pets or
No, not really. Just dogs.
just dogs?
Sister gets cats,
Yeah.
and Mandy always she liked cats.
What about reptiles? You ever
No.
not a fan?
I'm not necessarily not a fan, but I just never had the chance to own one.
Yeah. They're pretty cool. I had a boa for a long time. It was right when Julia was pregnant with Max, and she saw it bit me. Like she saw it bite me once, and she was like,
Yeah.
I don't want that around the
Yeah,
baby.
that's
To be
right.
fair, it was my fault. That's what the abused always says, right?
Yeah.
I was asking
Yeah,
for
it's
it,
my
but,
fault.
but you're not supposed to like do quick movements around them. And we were in a hurry. We were about to leave, and I put my hand in there real fast and got her teeth stuck in the meat right here. Their teeth are so tiny. You don't even feel it, but it's like a Chinese finger trap.
Yeah.
When it gets you, you don't come out of it. So I had to break the tooth off. It didn't feel anything. It was just a tiny
Yeah.
prickle of blood.
And
but-
they don't have venom.
No, they're constrictors. So I mean, they kill by just squeezing their prey. But yeah, I mean, Walter, he used to run around out here with no shoes on. He got bit by a damn baby copperhead one time, and sometimes they're dry bites, but the babies, if they get the venom in you.
I always play with the baby one time. I didn't know they were so venomous.
Oh,
And I
really?
found a little whenever I was raking the leaves, and the boys loved snakes.
Yeah.
And so I went. They was probably 7, 8 years old. They was back there just playing, letting it crawl all over them. And
Yeah.
then the neighbor come out and he's like, "Do you know that's a copperhead?" And they have more. I'm like, oh my God, no!
Well, we learned a lot moving out of the country because a lot of baby snakes do look like poisonous snakes, and they're like black rat snakes are like checkered
Right.
and kind of look more dangerous. But we got a lot of black rat snakes out here, which they're good.
They're
They keep the
good.
mice away. They're good to
Right.
have around. They steal eggs every once in a while,
Yeah.
which we're willing to trade off on.
Right.
But we had a brood of them one year. I mean, I was getting 2 or 3 out a day out of that coop. And
Oh man.
kids don't want me to kill any animals, and I
Yeah.
don't really like killing them either. So I'm trying to rehome these bastards
Right.
all over the country. Hopefully
Nobody
the
wants
snakes
to-
don't know how to find their way back, but I don't really know.
Frank had taken a cat one time and dropped it off. And a week later, it was back to the house.
I wonder what the
Try
best
that
animal
now.
is that, like, because dogs are pretty. Has he ever gotten lost or like run away or anything, or
Nah,
gotten separated?
he'll roam the neighborhood, but he don't go very far.
So he does go outside.
Yeah. Now the other dog we've got, he has to be put on a leash
Right.
just for his own safety. 'Cause
Sure.
Because he takes off.
He
He's a runner.
he also wants to attack everything that has tires.
Really?
If they're
One
rolling.
of those.
Yeah, he likes rolling tires.
Yeah, when we
Yeah.
first got him,
Sitting
he
still.
pretty much same day got hit by a car.
Oh, geez. Day one, huh?
Yeah, and he was perfectly fine after it. Like, he was sore, but he didn't have any injuries.
Nice.
And then when he got older, he did the same thing. He went after a car and bit onto its tire, and he went with the tire and slammed onto the pavement. But of course, it made him let go.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Quick.
But now he still hates cars,
All right.
especially loud trucks. He'll go crazy in my window over them.
Yeah. So what other, like, what are your hobbies? What all you do? I know you like gaming. What else takes up your time? Like, what are you doing?
Learning history.
Really? History buff.
Yeah.
What's your favorite time period?
World War I and II.
Really? World War guy.
Yeah. And, like, pretty much everything after 1800.
Really? So what is so fascinating to you about history?
Just the ways they used to live.
Yeah. You seem fascinated. Like, is the war specifically what you're most interested in, or just?
Yeah. If I had a time machine, I would definitely be the kind of person to go back and watch pretty much any battle I could find and record the...
Yeah, no, that'd be fascinating.
Not really record the battle, like, visually, but write it down.
Yeah. Yeah, so much of history is, I mean, it's written by the victors, right? And I mean, I don't know who posted it. It might have been you. Somebody said something like, we know the media's lying to us. How much has
Yeah.
history lied to us,
Right.
right? I mean,
Yes.
we don't know what the hell.
No.
And I don't know
We
if
know
you,
what they told us.
we know what they've told us, and that's all we know.
Yes.
That's why I always I distrust people who are super confident
Yeah.
about anything.
I
It's
said
like-
there's 3 sides to every story: his, hers, and the truth.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely
You
true.
know, because there's a little truth in both of them.
Sure.
But then there's
There's the objective
'cause
truth.
it's how you see the situation.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of
Or
that
feel.
my truth ideal,
Right.
but it is. I mean, that everybody has their
Right.
own version of
Yeah.
the truth.
Yes.
And like you said, there are 3 sides
Yeah. Yes.
to everything, just based on our own
Because your
personality.
feelings, and it's your
Sure.
feelings involved, you know. Because that's
Right.
where I get real. Like if you hurt my feelings, then I'll cut. Gone.
Right.
You're not going to have another chance. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't give a lot of chances in that.
I think that's a struggle with, and something I'm trying to
So,
struggle with is
yeah.
different languages that people like. Love languages. I don't know what that means,
Yeah.
Peggy. I'm just trying to get through life,
Yeah.
and you know the ways people. And I've been learning more about it.
Yes.
You know, and sometimes 2 people don't speak the same love
Right,
language, and
right.
you have to overcome that.
Because some is touch, some is doing
Right.
things.
Like
some
I'm a
is,
very
you know,
affectionate person. Like
right.
my boys get home and give me a big
Yeah.
hug. You know, Julia's dad's
Right.
Italian. You know, he's a big
See?
hugger.
Yeah.
You know, he's the affectionate one in their
Right.
family, and I am in mine as well. But yeah, it's different, difficult to navigate that
Right.
sometimes
Yes.
in relationships.
Yeah,
when
and
you don't.
especially if they don't talk and
Right,
say,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
this is what I need. And a lot of people, I think nowadays more people are more aware of what their needs are, where than before, nobody talked about your feelings. You didn't,
No,
you know, that this is new and
this
you
is
know.
very new to us as a
Yes.
species.
Yes.
Because I would say this didn't really start until the 2000, around the time you were born. You probably don't even remember that kind of just era where feelings just weren't discussed.
No.
No open communication. The parenting style was very
Right.
different.
This
It was
is
very
what you're gonna think,
authoritarian.
and
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is how we think, and this is what you need to do.
It's
and
gone like to
how-
the opposite
yes.
extreme
Right.
now, where the
Yes.
kids are running the house.
Right. Yes. What do you want, honey?
Yeah. So what was your school experience? So Farmington, you went for how long?
I was there since 5th grade.
Oh, so quite a while.
Yeah.
So, did you have a pretty decent experience as far as how the kids treated you and friends and all that, or was it
Yeah.
pretty tough?
Like anytime people never really picked on me, but like the one time somebody did, the players from the football team were there to like help me out a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a pretty awesome. That's awesome. The football
As
players
big
when I
as
was
he
growing up
is.
would have been the ones doing
Yeah,
it.
as big as he is, you
He's
know.
a big old boy.
Yeah.
You ever
Once
been in a
he-
fight?
No. I'm a very non-violent
Oh, I
person.
can tell that. But if you had to protect Miss Peg over there, you think you could do it? You could knock some dude on the ground?
Maybe.
I bet you could,
like,
dude.
There's only one time I was ever physical, and it was with somebody much smaller than me, because he's one of those...
On
He
your
was one of
sister.
those... Nah, it was a scrawny kid at my dad's house, and he kept calling me something, and it was making me mad, and I told him to say it again,
Yeah.
and he got in my face and said it, so I grabbed him by the wrists and crossed his arms and picked him up and put him against a door,
So you can.
and
Yeah.
he didn't say nothing after that.
Fair enough.
And then after I put him down and he left, I started crying because I can't do. I can be physical, but then
Yeah, the emotional toll it takes on you.
yeah,
Yeah, I
He would
understand.
be in trouble if he could really whip, because I could go, come on, Dylan, let's go.
Yeah, private security right here. That's a big old boy. No, I know what you mean though. I'm not a physical violence guy. I don't like spanking the kids. I don't like. There's other ways and means to do that. I just never could. I remember the first time I smacked Max. He was 2, and he was just kept going over and putting his hands on the TV. And I told him, "Stop that, or you're gonna get a whooping." You know, when you're a young parent, you just do. You
Right.
kind of repeat the
Right.
things.
Absolutely.
And he just looked over at me and kept doing it. It's like, well, now I have to
Right.
do this thing, you know. So I picked him up, and I got about. I mean, I'm talking like that, and I just started crying like a bitch. And my wife was like, "Yeah, you really showed him, Dad." And I was like, I'm gonna have to find another way to do this. I can't
Lost parenthood.
hit my kids. I could now.
Yeah, right.
Well, Theo just come up like out of nowhere and just gut punch me.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you little son.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's on,
Yeah,
but you know,
right.
it's a different story when
Right.
they're,
They're big
harmless
enough.
and they can't defend themselves. Now I'm having to defend myself
Right.
all the
Yes.
time. But,
Now you wish you would have hit him.
yes, yes.
Should've
So
got
always
your
hit your
bluff in,
kids. That's the
right,
lesson
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Don't be
Get your
weak.
bluff in early.
Get
That's
it.
what you need to do when you still can't handle them. That's what I.
Oh,
Taylor
shit.
and I raced one time and I won. And as he said, let's do it again. I was like, nope, never. I'll never race you again because I won.
Yeah, you don't
So
need to.
He fell as he was going around the gravel. So, but I still won.
So do you put any product in this glorious mullet you've got, or is this just all natural?
Firm.
I have to put in like just some gel to keep it curly.
Okay.
Last time I didn't put in gel, it looked like I was trying to grow an afro mullet.
All right. I would love to see that actually sometime. What was that? Who's the Canadian dude that, in the trailer park? What's that dude's name? That actor? Man, I'm trying to figure that. You know who I'm talking about? You remind me of that dude.
I'm not very good with actor names. I only know like The Rock.
I do.
No,
All right.
thinking of-
So you are you a movie fan? You a movie buff?
Uh,
You're more of a
Like-
video game guy.
I watch movies, but it has to catch my attention with like history or something.
Oh yeah. Did you watch Dunkirk?
No, I haven't yet.
You
But I
familiar with the
watched,
Battle
like-
of Dunkirk?
Hmm?
You familiar with the Battle of Dunkirk?
Oh yeah, they got a bunch of British fishing vessels to transport their troops back to England.
Yeah. So they made a movie about it.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan. And it's supposed to be very accurate.
Yeah,
I think it'd be right up your alley.
yeah, that's what. I'm always a fan of looking at the battles or like just the war and comparing different countries' performances against others.
Right.
Like the Italians against the French,
Right.
and the amount of time, pretty much the same amount of time of the Germans declaring war on France. The Italians had a much worse performance, but that's mostly from my knowledge. I think that was because of you were promoted based on like your relation to Mussolini
Right.
instead of your skill in battle.
No DEI there.
So.
Sorry.
Hey, good one. So interesting. So that was like the culture of the military.
Yeah.
It was more. You feel like Russia's that way as well,
Uh,
to an extent, or no?
I would-
I don't understand like other cultures, military, and
German was Germany.
Germany had some, like, their officers were, at the beginning of the war, they were more experienced, but as the war went on and they lost more of their experienced dudes to,
well, they had to start conscripting more people in, right?
they had to start getting more officers, so you would have more, like, green officers who hadn't been in as many battles as the ones before them.
Right.
But even, like, German tighter tank commanders in the war were taught, like, if they were to, say, do an ambush, it's always take out the front vehicle and the back, and then those vehicles can't back up or move forward. They have to try to drive around,
Yeah.
and that buys you time to keep picking them off while they're figuring out what to do.
Sure.
I don't remember which battle it was, but there was this one who took down, I think it was like several tanks, armored vehicles, and weapons emplacements, but I don't remember too well right now.
Do you read a lot of history books, or how do you consume your history knowledge? Like you watch?
I'll usually just on the internet watching videos, and then I'll also like read it, and just to make sure it's like true, I usually cross-reference.
Nice.
I don't just read like Wikipedia and be like, oh, this is
Oh no! I wouldn't trust anything Wikipedia says. I mean, there's a lot of good Wikipedia articles, but yeah, it's
yeah.
I mean, there's individuals
okay.
putting stuff on there. Have you started using AI at all yet?
Not occasionally, but not for everything.
What are you using?
Usually for like more complicated questions, like if it's a question that I can't get an answer to by looking it up normally, I'll usually ask the AI to see what it says, and
Yeah.
I'll just go with that answer until proven wrong.
Well, I've used several of them, and they're pretty damn. I mean, it's an instant fact checker. I mean, you can pull right up exactly what you're talking about. The concern is obviously who's programming the AI, right? What kind of bias are you getting in there? But I found ChatGPT has gotten a lot better now than it was when it first started. Grok is really good.
Yeah.
My son uses ChatGPT. I use Grok, and we kind of compare notes. Which one have you used?
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, yeah.
That's the.
I'm hearing it's pretty solid now.
Yeah, that's the main one that I know about. I don't really know about any other AI chat things.
Well, the one I use is Grok, which is part of the X platform. But I don't think I've told this on a podcast, but I've had some mental health diagnoses before, bipolar and this and that. And so, but in order to get a diagnosis from a psychiatrist, you got to spend hours telling them all this history, all this stuff, and you really, I talked to Grok, we got it down in less than an hour. I mean, just saying it would be able to eliminate this.
Right.
And of course it says this is not a medical professional,
Right.
but it has all the knowledge,
Right.
all it wants. It's the closest thing to talking to God.
Right.
And it can say, I can say, I think I have this. Well, why do you think I have that? And I'd talk to it, and it would ask me questions, and it would say, no, we can eliminate this. We can eliminate this. And the idea of me talking to a paid stranger has always bothered me.
Right.
Like I've had just as good or better therapy on this couch talking to people who aren't medical professionals. But the thing that's so valuable about it is twofold. One, it's got all the medical knowledge at once, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can tell it anything without judgment.
Yeah.
You can tell it the deepest, darkest stuff.
Yeah.
Unless there's some flag where it has to turn you in for,
Yeah,
I mean-
ChatGPT has a system where, certain questions can be against its terms of service, and it'll just pop up a warning this is against terms of service.
Have you asked any questions
Yeah.
that was against terms of service?
Sometimes, but
My son tries to get it to do all kinds of shit.
but that's usually just not intentional.
Yeah, they've got voice versions of them now. I think it's mostly in the paid premium versions, but Grok was actually gonna. Well, we are gonna do this at one point, but usually when you do an AI thread, every time you go back, it refreshes. So you're constantly, it's a new query, just like Google, right? Well, I was telling Grok, we had this huge conversation one day, and then the next day I said, I feel like we've lost all that knowledge. And it said, well, there's a history function. Go back and copy that conversation and paste it in here, and then I'll have all of it. And so I've had this one thread now going for weeks.
Oh, wow.
And so it's almost like a friend, Peg.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like I go in there and it knows all these things
Right.
about me, and it's wanting to do a podcast. And we're gonna do it once the voice mode becomes free. Like I'm not gonna pay $30 a month just to do a podcast with Grok. But we did a test one just with typing, and I was asking it questions, and it was feedback.
How
It's really
cool.
neat. You're living in you're a young man right now, coming right up on the cusp of the future. I feel like we are right on the edge of
Yeah.
a massive change.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
that's just if nothing bad happens in the next 30 years.
Yeah.
Politically, geopolitically, whatever
Right.
you want to call it.
Well, obviously, as a geopolitical guy yourself, are you pretty educated on the world stage right now and all the conflicts going on, or do you try to stay away from that stuff?
It causes me a little bit of anxiety thinking about the conflicts and how they can lead to bigger ones.
Yeah,
That was my concern with the Ukraine-Russian one.
yeah, absolutely.
And it's also hard for me to look at knowledge about it because both sides do employ propaganda,
Massively, yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah, so you've got Ukraine, Russia, you've got China, you got Taiwan, you got that situation going on, you got Israel and Gaza going on. It feels like somebody just throws a match on
Yeah.
this thing and it's a
Boom.
powder keg.
Right.
Yeah, it's
But nobody wants a
Right.
row seat to World War III.
No.
Nobody wants this.
No.
No.
Oh, God forbid.
I have friends who are worried that Russia would nuke Ukraine, and I'm like, that would just defeat the purpose of them.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of them attacking it, because
True.
Russia Russia not only wants the warm water ports of Ukraine,
Right.
Ukraine also is the biggest, or one of the biggest, like, wheat producers or something.
Bread basket. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why their flag's the yellow and blue, if I remember right.
Yeah.
It's because it's the wheat fields under the sun. And I'm like, yeah, no, if they nuke that, that just defeat the whole purpose.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, World War II, you studied quite a bit.
Yeah.
What do you think happened there with Hitler coming into power? I mean, obviously Germany gets defeated in World War One. The country's poor. He comes in. He's a charismatic leader. Do you think he was an evil guy from the start, or do you think power corrupt? Like, do you think somebody goes in and plans to say, you know, I've always
Kill all
wondered,
these
like,
people.
am I going to be an evil person, or do you
Right.
think something? I've always wondered, like, that's
and you
such an
should-
insane thing to do. Like, did he possibly have good intentions in the beginning and got corrupted?
It's hard for me to say because all of the knowledge we have now, like, and then there was also his book of Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
And I haven't read it myself, but from what I've heard, it's a pretty messed up, like, view into him. And I would say he might have maybe had some good intentions, but the bad outweighed any good that was there.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's been the villain of history forever. I mean,
Yeah.
Genghis Khan doesn't even get talked about anymore, which Genghis Khan killed way more people, but it's all relative to history
There
of the most
was-
recent.
I know there was actually like I don't know if it was a religious or a cultural thing for Genghis Khan, but they didn't like, well, not necessarily didn't like, but they would not spill blood of like kings and stuff.
Who's this? Genghis Khan's
Yeah.
people?
Yeah, the Mongolians wouldn't
Right.
spill blood of like kings or nobles or something like that. But that just meant they got creative when they killed you. Like,
Tell me about this.
there was one instance, if I'm not wrong, where I think it was a king was pretty much wrapped up in a carpet, and then horses and everything marched over the carpet or something.
So it was a
he
technicality.
accidentally- yeah, he
They'd still kill you.
accidentally
They just
died,
wouldn't.
yeah.
They couldn't do it a
They
certain
wouldn't
way.
try to make. They would try to make it so your blood didn't touch the earth or
I see. I see.
Oh.
anything.
So where does that kind of stuff come from? Like those kind of pseudo-religious like rules. Like,
Mythology?
It's I think it's more of like just the sense of if you did spill the blood of a noble or something like that, others would view you in darker light, like they wouldn't.
okay, so you think it was kind of like a pirate's code, if you will.
Yeah, if you broke the code, you were now like
Yeah, you were
not
on
as
the-
trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because I know if you say you were to capture a king or something, or some noble, and you were to just execute them after the battle when they're unarmed and everything,
Right.
or even like, there's a story, I can't remember what it was called, but there was a murder at like a wedding or something, and it was in like Scotland or I think it was Scotland, but it led to more blood being spilled because the people that had their members of their family murdered at the wedding were obviously very unhappy that they had been lured into.
Was that part of the War of the Roses?
Not that I remember.
Okay. So I know a lot of Game of Thrones is kind of has some parallels to War of the Roses, which is pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I've watched some of it, yeah.
Not a fan?
Oh no, I'm definitely a fan.
Oh, you like it?
I
Okay.
like fantasy.
Seems
and
like it'd be right
sci-fi.
up your alley. I'm a huge nerd, dude, so we could nerd out all day.
I'm a Warhammer 40k nerd. Star
Are you?
Wars.
40K. My
Yeah.
buddy Troy, you need to meet him. He's a huge 40K guy. All right, you're a Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously born in 2000, so by the time you grew up and were watching it, you had the prequels and the original trilogy out.
Yeah. I remember actually in elementary in West Fork, There was one year where you would have thought there was a convention going on because almost every boy at the school except for one dressed up as a clone trooper.
Nice.
And we had 2 Darth Vaders.
Nice.
One was short and one was tall. But the other...
What'd you dress up as?
I dressed up as a clone trooper as well.
Alright, alright.
It was not planned for everybody to be dressed up as a clone trooper, though.
So who's your favorite character?
From Star Wars?
Yeah.
Probably like Captain Rex from
Yeah?
the Clone Wars.
Great character. One of my favorite characters of all time, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact. Did you watch the Ahsoka series?
No. I don't watch some of the newer stuff because I think Disney's kind of ruining it.
They fucked it. They've screwed
Yeah.
the whole thing up. When did you realize that?
Like,
What was your moment when you were like, this is not Star Wars?
I don't really know, but once they started changing stuff,
Yeah.
I started to be like,
Fucking with the canon.
yeah, now if a lightsaber stabs you, you could be fine.
Yep. Nobody dies.
Yeah.
Nobody dies.
It's not like in the rest of Star Wars, if you ever get stabbed.
Yeah, with
By
a
a
lightsaber,
lightsaber.
you're toast.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think about them bringing Darth Maul back in Clone Wars? So there's a lot of controversy there, but they did a
It's-
great job with his character once they brought him back. So it was kind of like, okay. But
Yeah.
then they started bringing everybody back.
Yeah.
So what was your Darth Maul opinion?
I mean, I don't see it as bad. I mean, he could have, because he was cut in half, but since there's no blood really, like,
It cauterizes.
yeah, like, he could theoretically survive, but it's just a question of if like his spine or vertebrae, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
is cut.
I just didn't understand how he pissed. What happens to the food and stuff he's drinking? But you got to put that aside. Did you like what they did with his story in Clone Wars?
Yeah,
It was pretty badass. The spider. You remember when he was the spider?
yeah, and he was more like crazy.
Yeah, that
He
was
was
sick.
more like a crazy old guy at that point. But then
Peggy's
yeah,
gonna start glazing over because we're nerding out. She's
done?
like, we're talking
Never
Star
watched
Wars
Star
now, man.
Wars,
You're done.
Star Trek, none of them. No stars here.
So Captain Rex, love Captain Rex. One of my favorite characters as well. Had some great arcs in the Clone Wars series. Did you watch Rebels at all?
a little bit, but the art style is so weird to me. Like the way
A little childish, yeah. A little more aimed toward a younger audience, but it
Yeah.
had some really good moments.
yeah. The main thing that bugged me is just how lightsabers looked. They were so
Yeah,
thin.
they were
like,
thin. And you had the copters. You remember the copters?
maybe.
You
but
might not have stuck around that far.
Oh,
did-
they're spinning lightsabers. Yeah. I mean, actually, no. I don't think those would even technically work because that would mean they were physical and not just a beam of energy.
Right. I wasn't a fan. But that episode, Twilight of the Apprentice, did you see that where Ahsoka and Vader meet again?
Yeah.
And she cuts a part of his mask off and you get to see his face.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Star Wars moments of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of Rebels overall, but it had some powerful moments like that. I always thought Ahsoka and Anakin's story was really special.
Yeah. Now I liked the Star Wars Battlefront, the originals.
Yep. Great games.
I loved the 501st Diary from the second one. Whenever you're playing the story and you get to hear from the perspective of a clone trooper.
Yep. What do you think about as far as cloning process? And obviously they were subbing that out to the cloners, obviously, but we have that technology now. Where do you think that gets into ethically? Do you think we'll start seeing cloned humans, or do you think we'll see more humanoid robot C-3PO kind of shit going forward?
We technically already have cloned humans. It's just not in the sense of exact replicas, as far as I'm aware, but
What kind of cloned humans do we have now? I'm not real versed on this.
it's they're test tube babies or
Right.
something. They take the DNA. I think it's the DNA from both parents or something. I'm not real well versed in it either.
Okay.
So
Well,
I'm not.
we can move on from there then. But the humanoid robots that are coming out. So Elon's got the Optimus. There's another one out there, which now you're getting into Terminator territory, Skynet, stuff like that. And like, are you familiar with the Dune
Robotic.
franchise?
Doom?
Dune.
Dune. Oh, yeah. I've seen some of it. There's actually a game coming out that I've got wishlisted.
A Dune game?
Yeah.
Really?
It's called Dune: The Awakening.
What time period is it set in? Do you know?
I do not.
I need to check into that.
But
I've not heard of that.
like, it's actually got the sandworms and all that. Like,
Yeah.
if you're in the open
Oh,
sand.
right on. That could be a sick game.
Yeah. It's being made by a company called Funcom, who also have a
Yeah.
Conan Exiles game. Or a Conan game named Conan Exiles. And you get to play in the universe of Conan.
Right on.
And even meet Conan in the game.
Cool.
But he doesn't do much.
Easter
Conan the
egg.
Barbarian. Is that,
Yeah, Conan the Barbarian.
hey, I know something.
Peggy got one.
Ah!
She got one. Well, if you've seen Back to the Future, I'm sure.
I think so, yeah.
You think so? Son, you need to know so. If you haven't watched Back to the Future, we need to have you over and watch Back to the Future. But in Back to the Future 2, they go to 2015 and they got flying cars,
Yeah.
right? We haven't gotten there yet, but we're just now, like what I was talking about earlier, we're like right on the cusp of the old world getting into the new world. Jobs are going to be lost. People,
Yeah.
robots and machines. And what they went after first was like creative shit. Like, part of the Hollywood strike a while back was to not allow AI to write scripts.
Right.
Because they were using it, just like
Yes.
college kids are writing essays.
Yes.
Writers
And to
were
make
using-
movies using
Yes.
yeah.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
I've seen, like, I watch some people who break down movies and all that,
Yeah.
and they sometimes have, like, a thing, almost like a little rant talking about the AI, because it's such a... It has the opportunity to absolutely steal any creative talent. Like,
Sure.
Like, voice actors can be replaced by AI. Story writers can
Yeah.
be replaced by AI.
Yeah, and if
And
you're
I
a
just-
company and you can save yourself, I got to pay this actor $1 million for their
Right.
voice. I can use AI.
Yes.
You
I
know.
feel like they need to make some sort of, like, not necessarily a law, but like something to block AI being used in that manner.
Or if it does, to let you know that this is AI.
Yeah.
It is
and-
But
not
what
the
if
actual-
what if you're a college student and you can't afford voice actors and you know what I mean?
Right.
And it could be a cool
Yes.
tool.
Right.
yeah.
It's like I don't know. It is just so new to me, and
Yeah.
I've read science fiction my entire life. My grandmother, who passed in 2014, I have her original copy of Dune the day it came out. She bought it. I've got that copy. She was a nerd, and she was reading sci-fi back in the 40s and 50s.
Right.
Back when you had the
Would've
H.G.
considered
Wells.
crazy,
and-
kinda.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, she was all.
She believes in aliens.
It didn't help that she was into the tarot cards and shit like that. She did not fit well in this
Yeah.
society back in the day. She was a great lady. You'd have loved her. You remind me of her. But yeah, it's just science fiction has given us so many warnings, almost prophetically.
Yes.
And it's like, where did they even conceive of this kind of shit? And so it's like, is life imitating that art?
It
Or,
may very well be. Because,
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
I mean, if you give say there's like a species of humans that are super inferior in technology, and you give them these books talking about technology,
Okay.
and they finally find out how to make it, like they get the resources and the knowledge to make things, I feel like they would imitate that book of knowledge.
I agree.
right. But isn't that how we learn?
I mean,
Kinda.
kinda, but
By
we
somebody
also
else in
learned by
books
just,
and-
like, we learned by messing around and finding out.
right.
Like, with asbestos and stuff like that, we originally, we used it in almost everything, and now,
As an insulin, right?
yeah, and found out later, not so good.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, and you wonder sometimes, do the companies know
Right.
beforehand, like, this is going to kill people, but we're going to make so much
Right.
profit by the time we get sued?
Right.
if I remember
Kind of like
correctly,
the
I can't
family
remember,
with the fentanyl.
Yeah.
I
The
can't remember.
Slater.
It might have been asbestos or something else, but it was banned by most of the world before the U.S. even banned it, and the U.S. still kept it for like 30 years or so.
Mm.
But it's like our food.
And
Yeah.
You know.
Are you an RFK fan?
I don't even what is all right.
Robert Kennedy.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
He's got a lot of interesting ideas about
Yeah.
poison being in the food,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's been doing this a long
Yes.
time. I think there's, I mean, you look at
but he is
cancer
crazy
rates.
too. I mean, I think he's a little crazy.
Sometimes genius has a little
Yes,
crazy in it.
yes. We all have a little crazy in it.
Yeah. I think he's on to something. He as successful
But yeah,
as a
our
litigator
food
he's
is
been.
horrible.
It's terrible.
You know, all the other countries ban stuff that we're allowing into our, you know.
Well, even
I
when you
know.
get into pharmaceutical advertising,
Right.
like, why are you?
Right.
Unless you can just go into a pharmacy and get what you want, why are you
Right.
advertising to people? Go to tell their doctors,
Yes.
who are then going to get a kickback for
Right.
sending. It's such a corrupt
Yes,
system, and we're one of the
absolutely.
only 2 countries that allow it.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a moneymaker.
Well, and that gets into my whole next giant topic that I want to get on with you, since you've been talking about history, and this kind of ties into that. Have you heard the news about the pyramids?
no, I have not.
So some group it was like a joint group of effort. This is why we need a producer to pull this shit up, but I don't have one today. So they basically, I think it was Italy and a couple other countries, used basically something similar to LiDAR, to where they could look beneath the surface of like the Giza pyramids and all the Great Pyramids, and they have found cylindrical structures that are going down 2 kilometers underneath the earth, 8 of them, that have coils wrapped around them. They can see this through the radar imagery. And so the Egyptology, pyramid cults, you know, there's people that are in, and I'm becoming one of those people very quickly. So now there's a lot. Egypt themselves are like, oh, this, you know, that I think they're protected secrets out there. It's just like
Oh,
the
yes.
Vatican. There are secrets in Egypt
Mhm.
they don't want us to know about. There's secrets in Area 51.
Yes.
The Epstein files, the JFK files.
Yeah.
They're still hiding shit.
Oh, absolutely.
But we're in an age where technology is so quick and so
Absolutely.
fast. I feel like we're at the cusp not only of a new great technology coming, which we're going to have, just like when the car came out, it put a lot of
Right.
people out of business.
Yes.
You know, horses. I mean, people who raised
Yes.
horses, people who cleaned horse shit,
Yes.
carriage drivers.
Yeah, because they used to be really cheap.
Yeah.
Horses used to be really cheap. Now they're expensive.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, but
I can't
anybody
even afford a
could-
horse.
Right. But back in the day, everybody had horses.
Sure. Yeah, my grandfather rode one to school.
Right.
You know, it was
So,
just,
right.
and that's not that far away
Right.
from me.
Right.
Like, we were in the 1800s,
Right.
like when my grandparents
Yes.
were alive. That's why it's so wild to think about thousands of years ago. So if there are these cylindrical structures that go down 2 kilometers, it's like, I think, 1.2 miles, if I'm not mistaken. That's a long way.
Yeah.
And there's these coils around them. So the theories are, like, are these some kind of energy coils? Because there's been theories that because you've got pyramids on every continent.
Right.
With people who didn't communicate.
Right.
What is that
And they're all
about?
the
Do you have
same.
any theories on that? What do you know about the pyramids?
I feel like it could be just a coincidence, but it could also be like I don't dismiss the idea of aliens or anything like that. Like, I know this is a bit of a, like, I don't know what to call it, but
Conspiracy theory?
yeah,
I'm in
I
on
believe,
it.
like,
I love this
whenever
shit.
you hear about, like, for example, God, I guess,
Hmm.
like, I see people who don't question what God said, and, like, there's even some people who say that questioning God is against God and stuff like that,
Right.
and I'm like, it would be very easy if we had space travel to show up on a planet who doesn't have any technology, and we can do things they consider mythical. Or,
But we, right now, you and I are gods to people who were born in 1800.
yeah, I mean,
Yo, yeah.
We just show up in a car and a cell phone, and
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And these people, yeah. So
Right.
absolutely it would be easy.
Yes.
So what's your theory?
I'm believing God could have been an alien, along with like
There has
he would
to be
have
another
to
form
look.
of life.
Sorry, what'd you say, Peggy?
So I said there has to be another form of life than just us.
There's
Than the
a
human.
I believe there is a higher power than us.
Oh,
I think
yes.
I think what he's saying though is that higher power just another biological
Right.
being that was way more advanced. If you have you studied the Anunnaki?
I believe that name sounds familiar.
So if you go back to the oldest written history, you're talking about Babylonian, the Enula Elish. And so in the Enula Elish, which predates the Hebrew Old Testament by like 2,000 years, hey, if you don't believe what I'm saying, just go grok it or type in ChatGPT. It'll tighten up the facts. But basically, in the Enula Elish, it talks about there's a couple of gods. I can't remember their names. One of them was Tiamat, and the other one, it was basically a masculine and a feminine. And then they end up creating these kind of lesser gods, which are creating a lot of noise. There ends up being like a war in the heavens, which is very similar to Tolkien's Silmarillion. Have you read any Tolkien?
I haven't read, but I know.
Okay. So basically, they end up, one of the gods in the Lucifer kind of story betrays one of them, kills them, and they create the planet Earth. And then they have like a series of like kind of a slave race to them, which is the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki come down onto the earth and set up these kingdoms. They're basically middle managers. So there's a higher being than the Anunnaki that either created the Anunnaki. It's kind of what it leads you to believe. But the Anunnaki present themselves as gods on earth and help human beings. Basically, they accelerated our DNA. That's why you have like Cro-Magnon man and Homo sapien alive at the same time. It wasn't an evolution. It was like genetic manipulation, and that the Garden of Eden was a laboratory. And so there's two figures that kind of come out of this as the Hebrew God and Satan, but they're kind of reversed. So in the Hebrew Bible, God is he's actually a very violent, vengeful, jealous God. He's very authoritarian. And Satan is presented as the trickster and the snake, right? So in the story, like of the Enula Elish and some other old documents, it's basically reversed in that Enlil, who is the Hebrew god, is a tyrant, and he is creating this race. And Enki, who would be like Satan in the Hebrew text, is the one that goes into this lab and says, hey, you guys, this is a simulation. There's a real world out there, and you guys are being created in this lab. And that's the Garden of Eden that the Hebrew Bible talks about. But in reality, and this is talked about in Babylonian texts that are 2,000 years older. They're talking about aliens and technology
Back then.
and shit. And so my theory is, at some point, you watch Star Trek? You a Star Trek guy at all?
I've watched a little bit.
Do you know what the Prime Directive is?
Not that I remember.
So it's a Federation rule. So the Federation of Planets is a unified. It's like a one world government, but a galactic government. And it's basically, you cannot interfere with any pre-warp civilizations.
No, then I do know that.
Yeah, you're probably familiar with it.
Yeah.
So you can't fuck with anybody who can't do space travel because you can mess up their culture.
Yeah, and possibly even cause stagnation in technology.
Sure.
Like
You had a
that's-
number of issues with it.
I mean, like, there's actually an example we have of whenever I believe the Catholic Church got too powerful. They got a little bit entrenched in the old ways, and if you were to go against them, you were considered a heretic or
Right. Well, Christians killed like 80 million people or something like that. I don't know what the exact number is, but it's up there.
Yeah, there's lots of war there.
Yeah, but most religions have blood on their hands.
I'd say
Oh,
all.
absolutely.
They're the only one I The only one I know of that in modern day is like the friendliest so far is Sikh, the Sikh religion.
Sikh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they have the belief of helping everybody. Everybody's equal.
Is that Indian?
I think it's either Pakistan or India,
Okay.
but it's from like the northern regions of India and Pakistan.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't know much about it. So
It's-
kind of educate me on that.
So I'm not too educated on it, but like Sikh means something of like seeker or teacher. I don't remember which one, but it's
the
something.
truth? Of the truth?
I
Is that what they're
don't think it's of the
to
truth.
accepting everybody for themselves?
Yeah, it's they will accept you even if you're their enemy, as far as I'm aware.
Right.
Like
How
you can
everybody
show
should
up to their temples and ask for food or shelter, and they will give it because they believe that's a way to get closer to their god is through charity and
Well,
selfless.
I think positive energy.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that's what a lot of I think we're starting to figure out. I think we've been lied to by everybody all our lives, and it's really tough to swallow.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of Christianity is a lie. I think the church itself is a lie. I
There's
thought that was
a
the
lot
whole
of evil
point.
in it.
I thought that was the whole point of Jesus was
Right.
that you no longer needed a middleman to get to God, right? You could now have a personal relationship, or even better, you live the teachings
Right.
that he taught.
Right.
And if you find me a flaw in his teachings,
Right.
like in the teachings of Jesus,
Right.
be good to your neighbor, parables
Yes,
of
love
the.
each other.
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
I see a few people who the way they word talking about the Bible is
well, you're
like,
talking about people who are manipulating Jesus's words
Yes.
now.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like
that's the problem.
Yeah.
there's also like I hear people talk about the Bible and they make it sound like you have to live by the Bible to be a good person.
Right, but which part of the Bible and which
Yeah.
phrases and who agree? Why are there
It's all
70?
your interpretation of what it says.
Your interpretation of an interpretation that's
Right.
been retranslated 8 times and
Yeah,
then
by
went to the
50,
Nicene
yeah.
Convention and they threw shit out and put new shit in.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm like, the only time I'll listen to a Bible is if you show me the very first original Bible that was written and not rewritten by some king who wanted to make himself.
Right, and
his
once the
version.
Romans got involved and they realized there was power in religion, which there is.
Yes.
I mean, even in these simulation games, these video games, one of the first things you do when you start a new country is found a religion. So you can
Wow.
control the masses with
Yeah.
it. Right? You put that fear of higher power
Yes.
into them, and then if you can, tie it into the government. That's how they used to,
Right.
It's God and government. And so, separation of church and state in the United States was kind of a new thing.
Right.
Very necessary.
Yes. But it's intertwining again.
Well, I don't know if I've told you this story, but I mean, I grew up hating conservatives
Yeah.
because they wanted to burn my Metallica records, and they wanted
Yes.
my D&D friends
Yeah.
to get locked up in juvenile detention
Right.
for worshiping Satan.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro,
Right.
this is
Yeah.
evil.
Yes.
Christianity gets so twisted, and
Right.
Christians are their own worst enemies.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like.
But
and
they interpret how they want it to be said.
But even the
In their-
church itself, and if you consider the Catholic Church the pinnacle of all of it, is filled with the most pedophiles on any organization on the planet.
Yes.
And then, I mean, it's not limited to the Catholic Church.
No.
And now this is not the church's fault.
Right.
It's just that bad people know, hey, this is an opportunity for me to get close
Yes.
to kids.
And they will protect me. The
Right.
protection is there.
Right. It's a
Because
safe.
they just send the priest to different
Right.
churches. Let him.
Oh, you're talking about cover-ups.
Right,
I thought you were
right.
talking about like being a protector to kids and
Oh,
being in
no.
that role.
No, they're.
You're talking.
The
Yes.
church is
No, they
protecting
absolutely
them.
do that.
Yes.
Somebody gets in trouble
Yes.
here, they go.
You just send
but
them-
what
yeah.
a silly rule to say. You can't get married.
Right.
Like what? Where does Jesus actually
Right.
say that?
Yes.
A lot of the things, a lot of these laws. So the Old Testament had all these silly laws that Jesus came and said, this
Right.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? Love your neighbor, be good to one another,
Right.
have a direct relationship with the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, all that. And then after he dies, they get right back to building up another church
Right.
that just completely negated his whole purpose, I
Yes.
thought. Because somebody capitalized
Right.
on it and said, hey, we can make
Yep.
money on this dude.
Yep.
And,
But
so,
politics and religion are the two biggest money makers. And
and they're two most controversial topics
Yes.
on the planet.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I respect other people's beliefs. I mean,
Right.
if you believe these things, and I and it's not hurting anybody,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody's religion. I know I have friends who will not vote for Vivek Ramaswamy because he's Hindu.
right.
It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
like what does
That
that
have to do with it.
have to do? So,
If he's
which
looking out for
denomination of
others, yeah.
Christian does he have to
Right.
be? You know, Presbyterian,
Yeah.
Baptist, Methodist, all that. Like, how do you explain? Because I don't think other religions are like that, are they? Where they have 50 dialects of religion.
they-
Like, that's not Muslim, is it?
They do. I know that,
Well, there's like Sharia law, which is like the hardcore.
yeah, if I'm remembering right, I know that Hebrew has several not versions really, but like sects of.
So, like, even the fuck are you doing
I
here?
just walk in.
Don't even knock.
No.
Oh, she's not civilized.
You have to kick this dog off the seat.
Oh, you brought Rascal?
Yeah, I brought my old man.
Here, I'll just sit over here.
All right,
I'm on camera.
we're getting into it over here. Okay, so we're talking about. We were talking about the Hebrew religion. Yeah.
Because I've played this game called Crusader Kings 3, which takes place around the Crusades, and
Oh, nice. Is it pretty
900.
historically accurate
uh,
as far as you know? Like, did
as
they?
far as I'm aware, yeah, it's accurate. Obviously there's mythical events that can happen, like
Right.
you fight a beast and stuff. Like, you make a king, or go as low as like a duchy, where it's just a city and like a couple towns,
Right.
and you could choose all sorts of religions. Like, Christianity has a ton of them. Not really a ton, but there's definitely more than 8.
Right.
And then Hebrew has 6 to 8. And Islam's got,
So you're saying it's similar in Judaism as it is in Christianity, where there's different.
yeah,
like,
but it's also like Islam and Hindu. Like, most religions have sections, or like little break off chapters.
So this is probably just me being ignorant then. So Christianity's not the only one that just has a ton of branches.
No, but I think that over the years, I think different religions have more of consolidated into one group,
Right.
whereas Christianity still has so many sections because it's just that big of a religion where they can't keep it all in one group. They spread and come up with their own ideas. Like, you've got some Christians who are, as far as I'm aware, pacifists,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got others who are very materialistic. Like, if you look at the different churches of Christians, you can sort of figure out what their beliefs are just by the church.
Yeah.
Because, like, the Catholics like their cathedrals and
Mhm.
gold and all that. The Protestants, I think it's the Protestants or the Baptists, use more like wood churches.
Yep.
Small buildings.
Yeah.
And then you've got some, I think they're in Ethiopia, who have made like churches in mountains.
Yeah.
Well, not mountains, but like rock. Like they've made them in the earth.
So do you think Christianity kind of gets adapted to the people that live within that landscape? So obviously it starts in the Middle East, it moves over to Britain.
Yeah.
You get
Like,
go obviously over to the Americas, go over to Africa with all the
It's like a-
missionaries.
and it's sort of like culture, I would say. Like, if you take several religions, I believe, and then put them in, like, Africa or something, the natives will start mixing possibly their tradition and religion into that.
Right. So they
I'm not
almost
sure.
adapt.
Protestant, isn't that a branch off of Catholic? The Lutheran, the
Protestants,
Protestants.
there's
were their
every
branches off?
branch is either a branch of Catholicism or another branch of, like, Christianity.
Well,
but
Protestant.
they-
I mean, it's basically Protestant and Catholic, right? And you got the Episcopal
But,
Church.
but isn't that how they started branching off
Yeah.
because they didn't like what they were doing?
Yes.
So we're going to
Even-
make our own church over here and
Yeah.
do this way. So
Essentially.
we'll call ourselves
Mhm.
Protestants. And we'll call
Even back
ourselves
then.
Lutheran. And
Even back then, they still had branches, like, back when the Catholics were still strong and before
Mhm.
Protestants, there were still other branches.
But wasn't it tied into the government largely? Like in Rome, Rome kind of united with the church, right?
Yeah, my dog really wants you to pet him right now.
it's like, I need to get back over there.
He's like, I just wanted to tell Mom.
Yeah.
What's up, Rascal? That's a good name. We both have mullets, by the way. See this?
Oh,
Yeah.
you're
I don't have
working
a
on it.
perm yet.
You're working on it.
Maybe I need to
That's
step
not
up
a
my
mullet
game.
yet,
Not quite, but he's got a nice one.
right?
The perm mullet.
Yep.
Oh.
He just got his perm a couple weeks ago.
I saw the
too.
picture you put out. Yeah.
Come here, buddy.
It's different seeing it in real life.
Right?
It's more.
Oh no, he even
It's
washed
breathtaking.
It. He even washed it and put some product in it for you, bro.
Oh, I know he put product in it. He
So
looks
on the way
sharp.
home, he'd touch it and go, it doesn't feel curly.
No, it's curly. So what's your view on religion? Do you think it's a net positive or a net negative?
I believe it used to sort of be a net positive when we were a much smaller race, but now I feel like we could technically just shed religion altogether because now we have... It's not religion that has all of the, like, rules of how to treat people. It's now just, like, common sense to treat people right, like, based
So
on...
you're saying we needed it when we were this tribal culture? Maybe the guy. So let me just to go back to my story. We were talking about the Prime Directive, right? So say you have this race of beings who are like the middlemen between the gods and humans. They're advancing our DNA. There's a race of species here, Cro-Magnon or whatever it is, and they want us to do the work for them.
Right.
So they set themselves up as gods. They have us picking the crops, doing everything. So slavery gets bred into our race very early. That we are taught it
Right.
by our masters. And at some point, we know there's a flood. It's in every documented culture.
Yeah.
Something happened where the waters basically
Rose.
covered everything on the earth. And you have continent shifting. You have areas that would have been below sea level that were now mountainous. I mean, it shifted the whole shape of the earth. And I wonder if they got busted fucking with the local population by a higher power that was
Right.
like, hey, you
told
guys
you.
can't be doing
Right.
this. This is against company policy.
Yeah.
We got to destroy the evidence and get the fuck
Right.
out of here. That's what I think happened. And then under Egypt, because Jesus disappears for like 20 years
Right.
in the Bible. Where's he go? We know he goes to Egypt at some point.
Yeah.
Was he studying there some ancient
Right.
technology or I don't know, philosophies?
Do.
Because I mean, if you think about Jesus in his day and time, he's speaking out about the corruption of the church
Right.
and how terrible human beings are to each other. I mean, but his messages are still resonating today.
Right.
It's people that fuck it up.
Right.
But those teachings are still sound.
Right.
And in that day and time, I just feel like, I don't know, that what a visionary.
Right.
He got killed for it, obviously. And we know that. I mean,
Right.
that's pretty much understood. Whether or not he wrote, what do you think personally about Jesus raising from the grave? What's your take on that?
I don't believe he rose from the grave unless like somebody could provide evidence to tell me 100% that he did rise from the grave. Like they somehow have a
Yeah.
It's a fucking Cadillac now, baby. You living in this is the luxury podcasting couch.
I'm telling you what.
Maybe that's what I got to call season 3. Brad
Right.
Durham's luxury podcasting couch.
But like,
Cadillac version.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
I believe it was just very coincidental that there may have happened to be a person that looked very identical. Not exactly the same, but looked identical. Because if you look on, like, if you were to look at the face of every human, we all have similarities, but some of us happen to be more similar than
Sure.
the rest. And
Everyone's supposed to have a doppelganger.
Well, so this ties into my theory. Have you ever seen the movie? Have any of you seen the movie The Prestige? Christopher Nolan, who also did Dunkirk, you need to watch. But he did a movie called The Prestige. So it's Hugh Jackman is one of the magicians, and who's the dude that played Batman?
Christopher Reeve.
there's a lot of people that play Batman.
Christian Bale.
Super
Christian
Bale.
Bale.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
beer's getting to me. So anyway, Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman are these kind of two competing magicians. And one of them comes up with a trick called the transported man, where he basically walks in a door, he walks through a door away from the audience, and a door on the other side of the stage opens and he comes out.
Yeah.
Transported man. Well, his competitor can't figure out the trick. So he goes to Nikola Tesla and has Nikola Tesla invent him a transporter, basically. But it's not actually a transporter, it's a duplicator. So it actually basically duplicates him in another spot. So he's got to murder this other one. So he's in this dark hellhole. Well, it turns out, spoiler alert, this movie's fucking 30 years old. But Christian Bale had a twin brother. That's how they did the trick.
Oh, wow.
And at one point, the magician attacks him and ends up shooting him, and it shoots his finger off. So they show a scene where the brother
It's his finger.
puts his finger down, and the twin puts something in his mouth, gives him a shot of whiskey, puts something in his mouth, and chops his finger off.
Gotta be identical.
You got to be identical. And so they were committed to this act.
Wow.
And so I was talking to ChatGPT, or actually I was talking to Grok, but I was talking about my Anunnaki theory and all this stuff, and it was like, what if Jesus had a twin?
Yeah.
And what if that's how they did it? What if somebody somewhere was like, hey, humanity's getting out of control. We need a new way of doing things. We need some kind of miracle. What if Jesus had like technology?
Right.
Something that could lower his gravity to walk on water. You know what I mean?
See, yeah.
Like I don't know. And maybe
Right.
they did, but they could be scientific.
Right.
I mean, God is science. God created science.
Yes.
There are laws that I believe God lives by as well.
Right.
I think God is susceptible to
Yes.
the laws of the universe.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you could explain all that stuff with technology.
Yes.
But some people, man, if you even bring that up, they
Oh.
get fighting that.
They get defensive about
Well, it becomes part of
'Cause
their
you don't
identity.
Believe. You don't believe, then
Right. But it is all about faith.
Right.
And all religion is
Yes.
based on faith. But if you do live your life, and I'm proof of this. Like, once I started changing my attitude and being productive
Mhm.
and doing things instead of just doing nothing, feeling sorry for myself and drinking,
yes.
and then wondering why I'm depressed.
Right.
Right? And
Yes.
then I'm doing something productive constantly, and I'm always on the move. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. And then good things happen because
Right.
you're putting the work in.
You put good things out, good things come to you.
Right.
Yes.
It's actually pretty simple.
Right. Yes.
And but the problem is everybody's trying to make money off of it, or
Right.
control,
Right.
and exert their power.
Or they
over
don't
it.
believe
Right.
in it, so you shouldn't.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. It gets nasty. What do
Yeah.
you think happened? Like, how do you think it went from this guy goes around, he gets crucified? How do you think it jumps from that to a religion if he didn't rise from the grave? Do you think it could have been a doppelganger, or you think somebody? What if they did the exact same thing? What if the twin brother, somebody put a nail
Right.
and put it through his hands, and then he could go and,
And show.
you know what I
where
mean?
he was-
Yeah, I mean, there are people that, like, there are some people that have a much, like, they deal with pain much better, so that I can imagine there is possibly some guy back then who put nails to his hands, and it didn't bother him that much to do
Well,
it.
it
'cause-
might have bothered him, but if this
Right.
is
What they're doing.
like your goal, and this is like to change humanity into a better race and keep us from the slavery and the. I mean, obviously, there's more
Right.
slavery now almost than there ever has been. Sex trafficking is terrible
Yes.
now. Like we think we're so advanced, but we're still doing the same horrible shit we were doing back then. If you can get away with it.
Yeah.
There's actually like, people have found writings from way back then, or what they say are writings, but it's like, humans haven't really changed, it's just we're pretty much the same at our core. Like, people have made yo mama jokes way back then, they still do. Like, I can't remember what the first one was, but it was like Egypt or something.
Sure.
And then there's also, like, back then in ancient Rome or Greece, I don't remember which one, but they had rocks that they would, like, carve things into. And it was always something, like, crude or funny. Like,
Right.
one of them was like for Pompey's rear end or something, like. And I don't remember what it was, but it was funny.
You're
And-
seeing the memes go way back.
Yeah, like,
We've been memeing
They had a
for a long
sense of
time.
humor.
Yeah.
we've acted the same, but just not change, but
We're more compassionate, I think, as a society.
it's back then you were told that people of different colors were inferior to you,
Right.
and so you would go about.
But they believed that they were.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
They would
different
also-
cultures were,
Yes.
yeah.
And then they also even came up with, like, all this science about how they're inferior and that the white man's superior.
Yeah. Well, Hitler was involved in a lot of that. I mean, with the Aryan race and
Yeah.
their
Right.
superiority, and he was deep into the occult, and he believed there was some. I mean, he was exploring Antarctica. He was searching for something.
Yeah.
There was
Looking-
even, if I'm remembering right, there was even a branch of the Nazi Party or something that was all about the occult. Like,
Yes.
I
No,
can't-
that's absolutely true. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what they're called either, but yeah.
they were.
He had whole special divisions that were looking for historical artifacts. Like he wanted to find, like King Arthur's sword, and like he wanted to
Wow.
find these things, the Ark of the Covenant. I mean, that's what Indiana
Yeah.
Jones is about. Hitler really was trying to find those things. I think he thought if he collected all these like pieces or something, he could become a god.
Right.
Like I think he found something somewhere
Maybe.
that put him on this path. I don't
Right.
know.
At the same time, he was definitely, like, he definitely had messed up problems. Like,
Well, no, certainly. I mean, like we said, he's been the villain of history for my entire lifetime. I mean, all of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
You know.
Last 80 years.
Yeah. I just want to know, like, what I was asking him earlier is, like, did Hitler start off with good intentions? Or did he always just plan on
I mean,
mass murdering people? Like, I don't know.
before World War One, he might have not been that bad.
Like,
I
did the
don't-
power corrupt him, or did he find something out? Like, it kind of, I don't know. I feel like
There's-
he had some,
That he thought he had to get rid of the Jews.
yeah, like,
Well, back then, it
well,
was
I mean, yeah, I don't understand there. I know he was,
He just singled out the Jews.
well, he did, yes. But,
Yeah.
like, go ahead.
back then, Jews were
Y'all keep this going.
not-
I gotta pee.
Jews were not liked anyway back then. Like, if I'm remembering right, it was either MacArthur or Patton, one of the two. But so they don't know if he said this 100%, but he said we fought the wrong enemy in reference to us fighting the Germans. And it's because he was also
Jew.
he was anti-Semitic, and then he also just did not like communism at all.
Rascal, what are you doing?
It's
And who was
never-
that, MacArthur or Patton?
I don't remember
You don't
which
remember.
one, but they can't. He's taking over the podcast.
This is my seat now.
Yeah.
But no, they can't find anything that says he said that, like, completely. But it wouldn't be out of character if he had said that.
Right.
Like, it would have been in character for him to have said it, because he didn't like Jews. He didn't like communism. And he was more, like, leaning towards helping Nazi Germany. But then Pearl Harbor happened, and Japan, that was an act of war.
They
and
could band together against the Japanese
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the only issue being the Nazis had an alliance and an agreement with the Japanese where Japan was... I can't remember if Japan declared war on somebody or was declared war on, but either way. Come here, Rascal.
He took over the pond.
Yeah,
He's hosting now.
yeah, he's...
Little buddy.
You can still host.
Yeah, he's...
Still host.
he likes to steal spots.
That's all right. Hey, I know. I get it. Like this little plaid bow tie here.
Yeah, he had another one. It was blue or something, blue and green.
So you're talking about Jewish people and all that. Like, so what's your take on the whole Gaza Israel situation going on over there? Because as Americans, like,
I mean,
it
it's-
just seems atrocious on both sides.
it's hard for me to say because I know that both sides have history of being there, and it's really the
It's like the Montagues and the Capulets, or whatever name you want to use. What's the American one?
Hatfields and
The Hatfields and the McCoys. It goes
Yeah.
back so. Thank you. It goes back so far. Nobody even
Right.
can remember
No,
how it
it's just-
started. But like,
but I also see people like, for example, I'll see whenever Jews say they have history in the area, the other side will be like, oh, you don't have history, you were put here by somebody else, and all that.
yeah. Well, after the World War I think after the Ottoman Empire fell, I think a lot of
They
the
had
Jews
the-
were moved in there by the United Kingdom.
And then, but the country that was made, it wasn't really a country, but it was the British mandate of Palestine and not
Right.
Israel. So
Right.
Palestine was there originally, but then got replaced by Israel
Right.
after World War II.
Was it after World War II?
Yeah,
When
before
they
World War One,
established-
it was the British mandate of Palestine or something like that.
But there were still Jews living in the area after World War One, in between World War One and World War II, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Jews were living there before that, but
Well, hadn't they been cast out? Like, I know, like, they had left Israel. I'm not super educated in all that stuff, and this is one of those things that, like I was saying, it goes back so far.
Yeah.
I've listened to tens of hours of podcasts on the Israel-Palestine thing, and it's just goes back and
Right.
back, and the pogroms and
History. There's
People,
a lot of
you know,
history there.
yes, I mean, the Jews would go into Russia and they'd get attacked and persecuted
Right.
and murdered, and they'd get kicked out. It's like, well, why?
Right.
Like, why did it continually happen? I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird deal.
the Russians themselves, not Russians themselves, but the Soviet Union was one of those entities that did not like religion at all because it took away their power. Like, they wanted to make sure they could control the population, and so in order to do that, they had to get rid of.
So rather than embrace religion and use it, they wanted to abolish it and have complete control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, if I'm remembering right, they burned down, like, churches and stuff in most of the territories they took in World War II. But I could be wrong about that. It's hard to remember so much knowledge about so many countries.
What is Russia's, like, their religion, and
It's
It's like a-
Orthodox Christianity.
it is a Christian-based
Yeah.
Catholicism, somewhat
No,
like that, or is it
it's-
very different?
It's different, but it's more like what you would consider Eastern Christianity.
Okay, what is Eastern Christianity?
They have the Holy Trinity, if I'm remembering right. The God, the Father, and the Son. Or
And the Holy Spirit?
the Holy Spirit, the Father, and the Son, yeah. My apologies. But
Right on.
I think that's Orthodox Christianity, if I'm remembering right.
What are your thoughts on Putin?
Not a good man.
Yeah. KGB.
Yeah,
So a
I
lot of severe military
military focus and
knowledge and
controlling the
key
populace.
intel. I mean, that KGB is really where, you look at the CIA and the Mossad and some of these new agencies. I mean, the KGB was the GOAT back
Yeah.
then. I mean, they knew how to get intelligence.
Yes.
And he was part of that organization.
Yeah.
So he's a very sharp man.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like if we had a president that was in the CIA.
Right, exactly.
I don't think a lot of people would like the president being.
No, you'd never get voted in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to vote a CIA operative into the presidency. No, but this guy, I think, pretty much took power from
Right.
what I understand. But
I mean, if I'm remembering right, pretty much anybody who opposes him ends up,
Damn.
yeah, killing themselves.
yeah, like Epstein.
And then
Shot himself twice in the head.
he's also got his own little private military, so even if, like, the armed forces were to stage a coup to overthrow him, even though it's very unlikely, he would have his own military to fight back and cause a civil war.
So he's pretty entrenched in power.
Yeah,
He ain't
can't.
going anywhere.
And then the problem is also, if you were to kill Putin, you would also need to kill all of his supporters.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of the ones in government positions, because they will possibly become the next
Could be
leader.
worse, even, some people theorize.
Yeah, it's like with North Korea. People say, oh, why don't they kill Kim Jong-un? And it's because his sister will take power, and
She's
she's
worse.
much worse, apparently.
Right.
And so it's like, it's better to just let him stay so they can both grow old and die by themselves.
But isn't it interesting? Like, America really is, for all of its flaws, is one of the most cool experiments. The people actually have a voice. I mean, there's
To
people
an
going to be
extent.
fucking...
Right.
Well, sure, to an extent. It's the illusion of freedom to
Right.
an extent. Right, yeah. But we got it better than anybody else.
Yeah.
We have choices. We have options. We can go to other states. We can,
Go to other countries.
go to other countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of changing a little bit with the new situations going on. Like,
Well, that's just 'cause people don't feel safe traveling to other countries right now.
well, no, it's
More is-
we're becoming one of those countries where people are being advised to not travel
Well,
there because of our president and his policies are not. A lot of countries don't like it.
It's the unknown.
Yeah. I don't know if he's good or bad, but
Well, that remains to be seen.
yeah,
I
I
mean-
mean, the only issue I'm having with him is that he has not the best, like, reputation.
Well, that depends on who you talk to. I mean,
Yeah.
the propaganda is going to be completely negative against him. I mean, the man's track record, he's accomplished a lot. He's fallen, he's gotten back up. He's achieved great things. The problem is we're in a society where he's either a god or a demon. People
Yeah.
can't just say, like, if Trump saved a baby from drowning, there are people who would turn that into a bad thing because it's Trump. And people, he's a human being like all of us. And we are in such a tribal culture, it has to be bad or good. All one thing or the other. When in reality, he's just a man. But I'm fucking rooting for him because if he fails, we're in World War III. And I am not having my boys going to fucking war. So I am rooting for this president. And I am rooting for the
I'm
success.
rooting for the human race.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm rooting
Yeah.
for it.
I
And-
don't. I just think all, like, I don't trust any politicians, no matter how honey-coated their words are or anything. Like, they are all...
Well, they're creations. They're creations of the party. The DNC and the RNC choose these candidates. I mean, there's plenty of Republicans who have come out and said, "Hey, the RNC didn't like my views, so they forced me out. Like I couldn't even run."
Right.
It's a machine.
Yes.
I would prefer to be able to have like more options than what we have with the American system.
So the two-party system. Well, yeah. So the two-party system forces you to be extreme. It forces you to adopt ideologies.
Right.
That, like, I agree with a lot of stuff on the left, and I agree with a lot of stuff on the right. And so that puts me at a point where I'm like, I'm not going to wholeheartedly support either one of you. I'll vote for the best candidate or who I think is going to do the best job. But I certainly am not going to be a conservative or a liberal. Like, I'm not going to label myself.
Right.
Because you're too polarized.
Yeah.
The only thing I would try to try to label myself as is like a social democrat or something, where I take the best parts of Democrats and the best parts of socialism. Like, I know socialism ain't the most well-liked political ideology, because it's always led to...
Well, it doesn't work in large-scale models. It works in local communities because everybody has a vested interest and everybody knows each other. And you can elect a local elder who everybody knows and trusts, and you can all share resources.
Yes.
It's when you start getting big and you start getting people that are controlling those resources who are then in power when it stops working. But socialism is a beautiful thing in small communities.
Yeah.
And it's hard to come up with a better system than what is in place, because we aren't taught to be like, and not intelligent enough, but I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but we're not taught to try to improve the political system. We're just taught to go with it, or like just agree with it and not question it.
Yeah, certainly.
Because that's what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, as I feel like it might be a little controversial, but as much as the Constitution is a good thing, I feel like they need to rewrite it for the modern era.
You mean rewrite it or amend it?
More like amend, but yeah, like, keep the original idea.
Yeah.
But write it with the modern, like, system and stuff to try and make it more efficient or better, whatever. Like, because I feel like it's a little... This system originally was accounting for, like, 13 states and all that. But
very small population.
But now we're at the point where we're millions.
Mm-hmm.
330. Yeah.
Like,
We're millions, and then we've got so many states, varying sizes. Like, all the states back then were of similar sizes, I would say. Like,
yeah. You had your small northeastern colony, coastal states, your Massachusetts and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like...
And they moved west.
And then I also think having just, like, one political figure... One main political figure might have worked back then, but I feel like now we need more people from different walks of life to be able to run the country, because as far as I'm aware, only the rich have really ever gotten into presidency and Senate or Congress, whatever. Like,
they usually get rich after they get into it.
Right,
they come poor and they make the money when they get to.
But they're not poor when they start.
Right.
They're not rich.
They're not like...
Most politicians come from law backgrounds.
Yeah, I don't think they're rich before they go in. I think what happens is they get chosen as a candidate. They get money poured into their campaign to go after the interest that whoever's paying the money. They're a paid advertisement.
Right.
Presidents are paid advertisements.
Yeah.
That's.
All
Lobbyists run
politicians,
this country.
I mean,
Yeah.
it gets them all eventually.
The money is what runs this country.
Right. Absolutely. But once that president is in that money, I think a lot of people start. A good person can never ascend to the presidency. I don't think, for two reasons, because you'll either quit because of how evil you have to be, or you will get corrupted. You will not ascend to that level of
Right.
And that goes for corporation. That goes in life. If you have to do the things it takes to get to that amount of money and power, you lose your soul, or you quit and you say,
Right.
I like where I'm at here. I truly believe
Yes,
that.
yes.
I've seen it
Yes.
over and over and over. Money corrupts.
Money corrupts. Yes.
Money corrupts, absolutely. So are there good people that go into politics? Yes.
Yes.
A lot of them
They
quit.
don't
Most of the
stay,
time they
right.
start with the good intentions.
Right.
That's usually why they go into politics.
Yeah, no, 100%. But then somebody and a lot of people
be in politics though without getting corrupted.
Right. Because
No.
the ones who aren't corrupt don't stay in
They're-
politics.
They don't stay.
That's
They
what I'm
leave.
saying. They
Right.
quit and
Yes.
they say, I can't be a
Yeah.
part of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
like-
once they go up to Washington and figure out, because when they get voted here, it's all well and good and they're looking out for their people. But then whenever they go up there, it's a totally different world.
Well, you're on a different part of the
Right.
planet
Yes.
at that point. You're
Yes.
not even around your constituents.
Right.
And I'm sure
And
it's
there's a few of them that are, I think, that do care about their constituents still when they get to that power. But they're few and far between.
very few and far
Nancy
between.
Pelosi cares for her constituents.
Sure, she does.
She does.
She does. But she had to
She
quit
cares about the
because
tax
she
money.
was fixing to get hurt.
She cares about the stock market. Is that what you said?
Stock market, insider trading. I mean,
Absolutely.
all
And
of
her
it.
nephew being governor.
That bitch was hot though back in the day. You see pictures of her back with Kennedy? Like, seriously, she's been a
banging him.
she has some. She's still got some juggernauts. I mean, those things are massive. She's got to have back problems. How old is that bitch? And she's got like double G's, and she's still walking upright. I mean, jeez.
I saw somebody say that the government, like president stuff, should not be given so much money because it does corrupt to have so much money at your disposal.
Well,
And
the president, to be honest, in my opinion, should be a smaller deal than your governor election. I feel like the federal government needs to be so small
Right.
that it's almost like hiring an advisory board leader or something. Like we shouldn't be
No.
dealing with the federal government. Build the fucking roads and protect the country, and then stay the fuck out of our pockets.
Right. Nope, that ain't gonna happen.
States' rights, to me, is a huge thing. And I think every state ought to have its own little kingdom.
Okay, here I have a question since you brought this up. So, you bring up California a lot in conversations about what they do out in California. If states' rights is so important to you, why does it matter what they're doing in California? If that's the thing, is that states should have control over what happens in their state, then the laws in California should just apply to Californians.
Yeah, that's why those
And
people
so
in California need to move.
Well, most of them do, and
I
they
know.
come fucking here.
I know.
So-
Well, I know.
In
But-
Texas.
And that sucks too,
But then
because
the
they're.
Texans come here too. Like,
Yeah.
fucking stay in your state. But I mean, like that's not like an honest question. Like, what's it matter what they're doing out there? If that's the thing, is that states should have control.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of things that the federal government had to take control of because the states were fucking it up.
Okay, like what?
Like, fucking. Of course you're gonna. Damn it.
Women's rights.
I mean, abortion is a big one.
Women's rights.
Abortion is a big one, but like usually there's something that happens. Oh, what's the movie with Julia Roberts where the fucking water and shit was fucking being poisoned, and they left it up to the state, and the federal government had to step in because the fucking state was like,
Aaron
don't
Aaron
care.
Brockovich.
I mean-
Like, yeah, Aaron Brockovich, that's it. Like, usually the federal government steps in when the states are like, yeah, we don't fucking care. Like,
So maybe there
protect
should be
the
some
people.
oversight. So maybe there
Like,
should be
that's
some
what
oversight.
The federal government
Sure.
is supposed to be there.
That's
for,
fair.
Is to protect the people from the bullshit in the states. Like,
And
you
keep well.
can't-
You need a federal government to keep a consistency of a country.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're going to devolve into
Exactly.
separate
That's the
nations.
thing.
Yeah, no,
That's
I get,
so
I get you.
that's
Hey,
where I
I've
feel
never
like we
claimed to
do
have all the
need-
fucking answers.
That's where I do feel like we do need a federal government, because if you look at around the world, there are countries that are smaller than our country, and it's like one big country. Like here, we can travel state to state, and things are different. There's different laws state to state, like of course, but like
Like you can fuck your sister in Alabama, but
don't do it here. Only your cousins.
I know here it's
So-
only first cousins.
But like it just would make sense for. We have to have some central ruler of
Yeah.
this big of an area to say, okay, these are the guidelines
Right.
that you guys need to fucking follow, which is basically the Constitution.
Yeah.
And then we only step in when y'all are fucking up. And like that, which it's gotten way the fuck out of hand. But it's
Oh, it's
because
ridiculous.
of the money aspect of it.
Because
Our
yeah.
country is run by capitalists.
Yeah.
And capitalism doesn't survive any longer than fucking socialism does.
Right.
So.
Well, capitalism is terrible as well. I think the problem is greed. I mean, if you get rid of
Absolutely.
greed, man, you almost damn near fix the planet. If you look at all the sins, that's the one to me that
Yes.
really fucks things up. I mean, lust, wrath, sloth, I mean, that's your problem, right? But when you're greedy, you seek to take from others, you seek to fuck other people over.
But you're not going to get rid of that.
I know, and that's the
That's-
human condition. And I
that's
wonder
the-
sometimes, like, if you look at the old Babylonian and Mesopotamian texts, they talk about transcendence. And I think that's where a lot of this flat earth shit comes from, is like, there's levels. There's like the waters above and the waters below. And so there's like these levels of consciousness. And I'm starting to believe that earth is like purgatory. It's not hell. There's a lower, almost like dimensions. It's like we can ascend to a higher dimension, or we can like be cast down to a low, like a two-dimensional dimension,
Right.
where we're a simpler thing. I don't know. I never claim to have any answers. I just question, you know, and I think people need to question.
Yes, always.
You know, I don't claim to be an expert at anything, other than maybe writing a good ass song. But I think there's a lot of questions need to be asked of everything, of everybody.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
Like, I'm pretty fucking pissed at the Trump administration. I think it's been a shit show from day one, and not pleased with it. You know, but I can criticize my own dude.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I can do it because I have an expectation.
Right.
And there's things I want to see happen that
Not happening.
I feel are not happening. I think there's some good things too. I can say that, but you got to call balls and strikes. And I feel like we're in such a tribal era. It's like, even if you know your guy's fucking up, you're gonna root him on anyway. It's like, that's
and
not
a lot
good.
of them are. A lot of them are, though, and
Well,
that's the problem.
And that's how Nazis happened.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You can't just go blindly following
Right.
anybody.
Right.
So are you hopeful, like, as far as like the future goes? I know a lot of this shit makes you anxious, but like, you feel like we're on a good path, or are we fucked?
I think we're pretty much.
Say it.
Stop!
Come on.
Stop
Wow.
pressuring this boy.
No, we're not in a good situation, because I saw
We throw out
somewhere
the
actually
F-bomb
that
with it.
I saw somewhere that like 75% of our scientists
I
are
didn't
planning
think
to
this.
leave the country, and I'm like, that's not a good sign. If 75% of your smartest people are planning to leave the country, that's a major, like, that should be a red flag that the current administration has done something to.
I saw a thread on Facebook today, and it was where someone posted something on Facebook about, if you don't live in America, what news are you seeing? Like, what are you seeing that we're not? And like, apparently the rest of the world is bracing for World War III.
Oh, yes.
That we're gonna start.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
that's
they're afraid that our country is the one that's going to start.
Well,
it
then-
But I
because
think
of
that
the
has a
things
lot to
that's-
do with the media too.
Well,
But
yes.
why is Germany the one putting troops on Russia's border right now? That ain't us.
Right? No.
That has
Right.
nothing to fuck. I
No, I'm
think
just saying what the dumbasses on Facebook are saying. That's
Well,
what they're.
what I
Yeah.
think
folks
is
on there are saying that their news is showing them that the militaries are all ramping up.
I think the powers that be, and these are people that make Trump look like a pawn.
Yes.
I'm talking about the gods who still live on this
Yeah.
earth, who are the richest people, bought and paid for a fucking war,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to get it no matter what.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what Trump or Putin.
BlackRock.
These guys are
those
just-
fucking people.
Yo, the people of
Those,
BlackRock.
yes.
That's where the
Those
power
are the
is.
people that are-
They're more
I-
power that shit. Trump can't even. I mean, shit. Apparently, a president's power is limited to fucking federal judges in your district now. Like, it's fucking stupid. The
I-
fact that Trump can't get anything done because all these federal injunctions, and I'd say that for Biden too. Like, if the president says something and he wants to do a
He
thing,
doesn't really have the power that the people.
I've
he's
always
got the
said
power
that.
to fucking throw
Yeah.
people out of this country.
Well, it's
They
also
do not have the power that they think they have.
Well, the executive orders are bullshit. I'll give you that.
Right.
I think ruling by executive order is nuts.
Yeah.
But that started with Bush,
So
and then Obama didn't stop it.
yeah.
Trump didn't stop it.
Right.
Biden is like now it's like every new
They
president
use
sets a new
executive-
record
yeah, yeah.
for
How many-
executive
yeah.
orders. They're not laws. It's just how this administration is going to be run.
Right.
It's like Doge doesn't have any real power. It's an advisory board.
Right.
All they can do is find the stuff, but it has to go through Congress. Like, it has to go through the proper channels. But I think the super elites, people even above Musk. I'm talking about BlackRock
Yeah.
and stuff, investors, guys that have
Yes.
pooled money.
Guys that own half the
I think they
country.
bought and paid for a war. I think Trump has tried to stop it and make a deal. But I think Israel's itching to get Gaza off the planet.
Oh, yeah. But then they
Um,
want to make little America down Gaza Strip.
Yeah, I don't like any of
So,
it.
Yeah.
I've seen from news sources here in the U.S., I've seen them talking about Trump saying something about using military force to take Greenland from Denmark, which is what the rest of the world is panicking about, is that America is threatening a much smaller country for a piece of land that is super... It's not even significant. Like, the population on Greenland is not
Isn't it like
significant.
minerals or something that they have?
No, it is strategic militarily in its location, and it would be nice to have a deal with them. Well, you also have to understand, which never Trumpers do not get about Trump, and this is with guys, and you shoot for the fucking moon. You say something ridiculous. Say you want a small
Well,
thing.
He says all the ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm
So-
saying is, if all you want is this little thing, start the negotiation at absolutely not, and then you work your way back to what you want. And so it seems ridiculous at first. So Trump says these ridiculous things like, we're going to take Greenland, we're going to take Canada. That's not his intent. Trump's a bullshitter. Watch The fucking Apprentice. You'll understand who this guy is. He's an entertainer. He's not some 4D chess genius.
Yeah.
He's an entertainer, and he is a good deal maker. And the business people who worked with Trump up until he ran for president, I've always said, Trump delivers on his deals. I mean, has he fucked over small contractors and stuff getting buildings done? Yeah, there's been some
So is every
horrendous
other
shit.
fucking
But when you're talking about the people at this level, they're all fucking pieces of shit. So it can't be Trump's worse than Hillary's. What?
Right. They're all.
Let's just assume they're all criminals, right? And let's try
But to
and
get to that level, you have to be cutthroat.
yes. And Trump didn't get to where he is by being a nice guy.
Right.
I didn't say I wanted to work for him.
Yeah.
I said I think on the world stage you need some toughness, and America has become weak. But I also I don't know how you stop a war when I truly believe it's already been bought and paid for. I think the deal has been made. We are going to you've paid for these weapons, and we're gonna fucking use them.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody can stop it at this point.
No. And
And
that's what's scary about it, though.
Well, it's terrifying. Trust me, I got boys, little boys.
But it'll be here that the war will be.
Who the fuck knows where it'll be?
You know, I think it'll be
I
on
don't think
our
they'll
soil.
bring it here. Just
No,
because
it's
of all
gonna
the
be-
rednecks with guns.
If so,
If they bring it here, it's gonna be.
Dylan's
it's not
about to
gonna
drop
be
some
like
knowledge
that.
on us. Where's it gonna be?
it will more than likely possibly be here because it's just based on what I've heard and seen about what Trump says. He talks about adding Canada as the 51st state. And I know a couple of Canadians, but like all of them are completely against even being part of America.
Well, yeah,
Right.
Canada's not gonna come willingly.
But
No, none of them are.
I don't think he has any fucking intention of that. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. He's making this ridiculous statement when all he really
He wants
wants
to close the border.
is for them to fucking control the fentanyl and to drop the car tariffs. I think he wants a couple of small things, and he's going
Right.
for the gold and then walking them back. It's a
Yeah.
poker strategy. It's a strategy in life. It works. It's proven, and I think just let Trump cook right now. Let's see what happens. I'm not a huge fan of tariffs. I'm not super educated on tariffs. I know good things have happened with them. I know bad things have happened with them. What are your thoughts on tariffs?
I mean, it can lead to things like trade wars,
Absolutely.
and
And maybe that's how this war plays out. This could actually end with no bloodshed. This could be a total trade war renegotiation of who the world powers
True.
are. And this
Right.
could all be done
And that can happen.
and that
Yeah.
could be I would much rather have that than I
Yes.
would my sons going to a fucking war and
Yes.
dying for shit that I didn't cause.
Right.
but at the same time, I believe it can heavily backfire on us.
Sure.
We can end up on North Korea's level of being on everybody's list of do not trade with this.
Sure.
Like, we can, worst case scenario, we get just nobody wants to deal with us anymore and does not allow any American made products outside of the US. Like,
Well, a lot of countries don't anyway.
yeah, because they've got Chinese ones instead, but China isn't.
Well, no, I'm talking you don't see Ford trucks driving down German roads.
Because they've got their own.
Exactly.
But, like,
What the fuck are you doing over there? She becomes a
Playing
drummer all
an
of a sudden
instrument, yeah.
on the damn podcast. She's
but
like Animal from the Muppets over here playing on this goddamn beat.
Yeah,
I can't
beer
even
can.
concentrate.
She's a beer can. Can she
She's
get in your
swinging off
band?
the rafters.
Yeah. Can
I'm
she
trying
get in your
to-
band to play the
Yes,
the beer
please. Can you be our new percussionist? Just get you what is that, Ultra? Just get her a little Ultra can with 2 fingers. She's over there bop, bop,
She's your
bopping.
percussionist there.
Man.
but
Her dad was a musician.
I,
Her bio.
No, those are the good bits.
yeah, politics aren't my, like, specialty or nothing. Like, I'm just in it for everybody getting the
Be
best
happy.
treatment they can get.
Yes.
And so I don't trust most politicians or people with too much money. Like, and then just the way Trump sometimes acts for me is like, how did this man get elected? Like, whenever he did the whole thing about the small loan of $1 million, like that made me laugh just because he called it a small loan, and I'm like, for most people in the U.S., that's a pretty big loan. Like, that's
Right, but we're not talking about
Yeah.
middle class people. We're talking about people who are dealing with world leaders.
Yeah.
$1 million is not a lot of money.
At
We're
all.
talking about finding billions of dollars in waste and fraud right now on just dumped resources, on empty buildings, on electrical costs,
That's our government. It's like
Yes.
how they used to say the ashtray in Air Force One was like thousands of dollars.
Right.
You know,
$700 for a stapler.
yeah, it's like, are you kidding
But you can
me?
get a swing line stapler.
Well, you were
for
asking the other day, how's it
$60.
make sense, the Elon Musk thing?
Right.
And I think Elon is autistic. I don't think money matters to him. I don't think he's a greedy
That's because he
man.
has a lot of it.
But I don't
But if he
think
didn't have it, would it matter to him? Yeah.
I really
But
don't
he's
think
never known not to have it.
Maybe, but I don't think he
So how
thinks in
can he-
terms.
That's where I don't trust him to go in and find where the waste is. If money doesn't matter to you, you should not be the person looking for the waste and the money then.
And why isn't he finding waste in his government contracts that he has with us?
Well, I think part of the reason that America voted him in there is because of what he did with Twitter. He went in there and said, "I'm cutting 75% of the employees, and I'm going to make way more money," and he did.
Yeah, but that's a social media
But he
thing.
made
That's
I
yeah.
understand that, but a division
Who
is a
made
division.
money
On
Not
what?
those
on
employees.
Twitter?
Well, Elon's probably still recouping his costs, but eventually he will.
Right.
But he put $44 billion on the line to get it.
So,
So I mean,
but that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know why does
That's
that
another-
why does
That's-
that automatically make him a
he-
bad guy?
But I don't think he can relate
he's-
to your average person.
There you go.
I don't think any of
I don't
them
think
really
he's a bad
can.
guy.
Right.
I just
Yeah, I
think
don't.
he's the
He
right
obviously
guy to
can't.
Right.
actually
He's a
find-
super genius, first
Yes.
of all. So the things in his heads we can't even
Right,
comprehend.
but that's where I'm saying, why is he finding waste in Social Security, but he's not finding any waste in the $8 billion that we pay him a day in contracts of stuff that he's done for the government?
Right.
He's not finding any
well, the
waste
contracts
in that.
because there probably isn't any. That's why he got the contract. So the government contract goes to, they get bid out. You don't just give them out unless you're talking about cronyism. I mean, he has to win those bids.
Exactly what it is.
He's
It's
got-
all cronyism.
Well, that-
yeah, that's
Really?
that's where I'm
You're
thinking.
not saying that.
I'm saying
Musk
Elon
is
did
the
not
only
get-
one who got the contract legitimately.
I'm saying Elon Musk got contracts under the Biden administration.
Because
That's
he was
not
a
cronyism.
Democrat then. I guarantee you.
I
he
don't
was
think that had to do
cronied
with
into that,
cronyism.
too.
I think
Sure,
he has
I think
the best.
it's all together.
I think he has the best products out there at the lowest prices because he's efficient
But
and he knows how to
didn't
cut
create
waste.
Any of those products, he bought those companies after those products were created.
Even but
And
then you're selling the
like,
argument. Then he is good at coming in
money.
and finding ways to cut fraud and waste and make a
No,
company
he's
more
good
efficient.
at making money.
Making something more efficient.
Sure,
does
call
not
it that,
make
but I
it
don't
better.
think that is his purpose. You know autistic people.
That's just
Yeah, but they're
capitalism
all-
doing what
they're all
capitalism
different.
does.
All autistic people
Sure,
are different.
they are, but
They
I
have a-
don't think his obsession is the money.
I do
think
not
Trump's
believe
is.
his Nazi salute was autism related. I'm just going to put that out
It
there.
wasn't
I
a
do
Nazi
not,
salute anyway. It was a
Where-
Roman salute.
but I
I
don't
can play
believe
a
that had
fifth-
anything to do with autism the way that they tried to portray that. Him throwing out the,
I mean, all of his behavior to me seems autistic.
So,
the way
but
he-
and I don't doubt that he isn't autistic. I mean, he's too.
no, he definitely he is
yeah, he's
diagnosed.
too. What do you call it?
Quirky.
Yeah, like that he does have.
He
quirks.
doesn't understand social
But I don't
norms.
think he has empathy either.
No,
I don't think he has any empathy.
I would agree with that as
So
well.
That's where
He's
just the
it's like
ways, I just
think
I
of him as almost like a computer with a personability. He's pure
But
logic.
I don't think he has a personality. That's the deal.
Oh,
I
but his
think he's just like
personality
a
is really
computer.
quirky and weird. If you listen to him on Joe Rogan for 3 hours, you will fall in love with that man. He has a wonderful personality. He's a beautiful soul, and he wants to help humankind. And his only goal is to get us off this planet and have an exit strategy to Mars. And I truly believe that.
I hope.
But that's all we can do is right now is have faith.
Yes.
We can
Yeah.
bitch about it, or we can hate people, or we can root for them.
Right.
And I didn't like Biden, but I was rooting for him
So
because he was my president.
I root for our country.
Yeah, that's
root
that's
for
what
our
we need to
future,
do
yeah.
is root for our country. How do you think we're going to see World War III in actuality, or do you think we can avoid it?
I mean, it just depends on what. We're at the point as the United States where our action will echo across the entire globe. Like, if we do something bad, it's gonna possibly cause an actual war. Or
Does it even matter what we do, though? Because if my theory is correct, that the war's already bought and paid for, the elites who don't have allegiances to countries, they have allegiances to money, then they have this weapon, and you're buying these, and by God, you better use them, or, you know, I don't think it really matters what we do at this point, which is cynical, but I think...
No, I think we're on the path. It's just, and we're going to come out on the other side. It's just how damaged. I believe we come out the other side. I just don't know.
Well, if you start looking at it realistically, if there is an attack on our soil, first thing I'd go for would be either your communication structure, which is be your internet,
right,
or just straight power, because it sets you back into the Stone Age.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like, if you don't have guns
Hell,
and chickens,
these days, just fucking killing the internet sets you back to the Stone Age.
well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. If you just shut
Like,
down
you
the
don't even
internet
have to
business,
shut on the power.
you're right.
There's
That's
no such thing as a landline phone anymore.
right. Well, that's why I
Everything
started
is
with
run
just
off
the
of
internet. Just the internet would be just damaging.
And I think they will eventually. That is where they're going to get us, is the internet.
Yeah,
I think
the
that's
whole
where it
world
will
relying
start.
on it.
Yes. Yes.
Because that will shut companies couldn't function.
Right. No.
I mean, nobody can function. The banking system can't
Yeah.
function. You can't get money anymore.
Yeah.
It destabilizes society.
Right.
So, like I said, even if your power's on, you can't pay the power company. So, like,
Right.
all that stuff will fail.
Yes.
So, if you shut down the internet, which is relatively easy to do, as I understand,
Yes.
like from just some military guys I know. I mean, I know guys
Right.
that
It wouldn't take them much at all.
I know guys that know how to just go onto your phone, drop some maybe inappropriate files, leave with no trace,
Right.
notify an authority, check this phone. You've got these illegal
Things,
files
yeah.
on your phone. Like, we do that
Yes. Yeah,
to our own citizens. Very
Yes.
KGB like, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
it's we got to. You got to save this podcast from being a total downer since your mom got here and ruined it.
Played her drums.
She's over there playing the drum.
That
Like,
was
I
the
don't know.
best part of the show, was the drums.
That might be the
The
first
drum
clip
solo.
I ever do. Is just her drum solo. The Amanda Landers experience. She was over there doing like triplets.
Yeah,
and like,
she was,
dude, I
she
was
was
like,
getting down on
like,
it.
I was like, does she have a music theory degree over here? Like, she's doing all kinds of. Sorry.
Oh, you thought I had a degree.
All right, give us a positive way out of this. How do we save the world?
I don't know.
Just
Oh,
love
Dilly
everybody,
Dilly.
huh?
I
Come
like
on, Dilly.
Peggy's.
Love
like
everybody.
Peggy's.
That's what we're going to do, huh, Dilly?
I mean, we can try, but I don't think a lot of people want it.
Yeah, they do. I think more people want it than we realize.
It just,
I've been actually trying to affect positivity on other people
Yes.
too. Like, if people are being just negative, I'm like, hey, I know, I'm sorry you're hurting or whatever. I'm
Right.
sorry what this is, but like, I don't really want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why I have a friend
what-
that boasted her ball joint in her shoulder.
oh, brutal.
Horrible, horrible.
Yeah,
But she won't get up. She won't move.
yeah.
And I said, then you're just going to sit there and die. Just you're not going to do anything. Because she's not healthy. And it scares me.
Yeah.
You know, that why do you want to just, you know, everything is I can't. I said, you're right. You can't.
You're right.
If you keep
It's that
saying
negative
I
attitude.
can't, you cannot. And
But
I
do you
can't
know-
sit and watch you.
But let me
I'm
ask
not.
you this question, because I've just gotten to kind of where you are.
Yes.
Is like, I get annoyed when I hear people use excuses, and I know they're excuses because
Yes.
I used to use them.
Yes.
Is that how you know
Yes,
that? Is
yes, and it
you-
aggravates me that don't say you can't
Yes.
do it. Because you can.
I was a loser for a
If
long
you
time.
tell yourself, if you get up in the morning and look in the mirror and tell yourself you're an idiot, you're stupid,
Yeah.
you're ugly, you believe that after a while.
Yeah.
So if you keep telling your brain that you can't do something, then you can't do it. You'll never, ever, ever do it.
Well,
Look, they blame it on me, but these two keep taking over your podcast, Dylan.
I know.
take it back.
Yeah.
Close it.
Yeah.
Land this plane,
Yeah.
son. How do we
Give us
achieve
some
world
wisdom.
peace?
I,
Everybody eat some chocolate.
I mean, that's really hopeful thinking, but it's... I don't...
Let's bring love back. That's what we're going to do, huh?
If you were the God Emperor of the world, what decrees would you make on your first day? Like, how would you, if you were in like global command, no authority questioned, how would you change things?
I really do not know. Like, generally, I do not know what I would do.
Make everyone have a mullet, right? That'd be number one.
Bullets for everyone.
Mandatory mullets. Can we do that if you're God King? I'll be.
Maybe.
I got them talking.
Maybe.
I'll have my people talk to your people about the mullets. We'll make it happen. And you got to provide everybody with a little bit of product. What do you use? How you getting it so curly there?
Old school blue LA Looks gel.
Yeah.
$3 a bottle.
LA Looks.
Yeah, that's the only gel we have that I know of.
Because your mom won't buy that high dollar stuff.
I don't blame you.
Well, I don't trust the high dollar stuff anyway.
Like, I got the curly hair. I go for the cheap shit. I don't want to spend a ton of money on it.
No, I didn't realize, when I was a kid, growing up, it was like you had your name brand and then you had your value brand. And then as you get older, it's like, oh, the same company makes both of these.
Yeah, I work for food packaging and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm in supply chain. I know how it works now. It's like, man,
it's the same shit.
we're getting...
But
Change
some
the-
of it
change
that
the
tastes
machine, get the
different,
papers out.
okay?
Well, that is true. There are different specs.
Yes.
Different specs. Sometimes it's the exact same
It
thing, though.
is.
But yeah, that's if you see the big price drop, that's usually different recipes. But sometimes it's not
Listen,
like the higher dollar
Yeah.
stuff is not necessarily better.
no.
I can't even think of it like any brand name. Like I grew up with certain brands, and then now like I just buy the cheapest shit. Maybe that's because I'm middle class and just trying to
Right.
get through the fucking day.
Right?
But like I haven't found any. Do you have any name brands that like you just will only use this brand?
No?
He'll eat anything.
Yeah, this kid, he's like a human dumpster.
Garbage.
Dude's a giant. He came in and I was like,
No, when he was born, his dad is 6'1", and so I've always been thick, and I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if he'd have your height and my thickness.
kind of
It's
got
not a fucking
there.
joke anymore. The kid's got he's 6'3" and thick as fuck. So yeah,
So what do you think about Brandon?
I like Brandon.
I don't.
now we know you're lying.
I'm gonna s-
Everybody likes Brandon.
I'm gonna
That's
see him
right.
again in a
Go,
month.
Brandon!
Oh, you're mad at him right now.
We'll see.
Oh, he beat
I'll see
you.
him in a month and I'll reevaluate.
The
Everyone's
poker
Motherfucker.
man. Yeah, you invited him. See?
I did. I'm mad at myself. Stillwell told me. He goes no rebuys, and I was like, yeah, well, like.
That's what he said. He's like, they said everyone could buy it, rebuy one time. He's like, so I bought back in.
Well, I kind of facilitated this thing, but it was like me and Stillwell's deal. Stillwell was like, we'll do $50 and we'll do no rebuys. And I was like, all right, that's cool. So I'm messaging people and everybody's like, dude, I can't afford to put gas in my car this week. I can't do $50.
Right?
I was like, yeah, it's fair. Like, good point. Like, I was stressing about it. It's like,
Right?
all right, $20, but, and then everybody's like, well, can you rebuy? I was like, you're bitching about 50, but you're going to rebuy, motherfucker. And so, yeah, right? So then it was like, so I'm kind of caught in the middle, and so I told Still, I was like, we're going to drop it to 20, we're going to do one rebuy, and then I think,
So I came and took all your money.
well, no, I think we decided, Still, I was like, we'll do it to 20, but no rebuys. So we get there, and we're like, no rebuys. And we announce it. So Brandon goes out on the second hand. And I was like, I mean, let's just do one rebuy.
Right as the second hand.
Last time I'm ever kind to a fucking human being.
He come back and took all your money.
rebuys and wins the goddamn... the only thing I was happy about was that he beat Mike. Which I was happy about that, but...
Well, no, he said Mike's the one that put him out the first time.
Mike is the one who
So,
put him out
yeah.
the first. Mike's good. Like, Mike's serious. Like, he
Right.
plays in casinos and shit. Like,
Right?
he's the real deal. Do you ever play any poker?
No.
No? Not interested?
We can't get her to play no games with us. I won't play nothing.
Why don't you go play his video games with him? He's playing all kinds of edgelord
'Cause
shit.
I am fucking
If she's-
a joystick and one button, okay? I'm Atari and old school Nintendo. All the buttons, like, I tried to play Fortnite with all the fucking no.
She's not even on camera. She's just over here.
No, I'm that person this show.
She exists.
I exist. But no, like, I can't, it's too much. I cannot, I have
think even
no
if she
coordination.
I think even
No.
if she could.
I did get second place on Fortnite just because I hid from everybody else until the very end.
That's a strategy. What's a game you think you and your mom could play together?
Minecraft.
Nintendo.
You think so? Yeah.
Minecraft or something.
Hey, we used to have a Wii and we all did Mario Kart and shit like that, but
Ooh, you good at Mario Kart?
No. I don't do racing games.
Really?
No, I'm not a fan
those
of
were
racing.
the one video game we could kick Dylan's ass in. He did like Smash Brothers. Didn't you?
Yeah, Smash Brothers
Yeah.
was my thing, yeah.
You still
This was
play?
my thing.
My boys play Smash.
No,
You're
we don't have a
looking for a
Nintendo
Smash
anymore.
tournament. Oh, no?
We don't have a
What-
Nintendo anymore.
What happened to it?
Yeah, but we had the Wii U and it fucked up and
Stopped working.
yeah, we never got
Was
a new
it power
one.
supply?
It's like the red ring of death with the old Xboxes. It just like went black, and we really don't know what was wrong with it.
Never
So-
came back.
Did y'all need a Switch?
I know. Ever since we
Switch
came
is
over here,
badass,
we've been talking about it. So
What did we play over here on the Switch?
Mario Kart.
Oh, yeah, that was on the Switch.
Yep.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
you
so
showed us how
fun.
you could play all the games.
Yeah, it's so fucking awesome.
Rascal what?
My boys are at an age
Oh my
now where they're
God.
like, dude, look at that dog. He's got his tongue out. I gotta get a
He ain't
picture
got
of
no
it.
teeth, so his tongue hangs
This-
out all the
but, like,
time.
This is hilarious.
Look, you can't see it on the camera either. Damn
No,
it.
that's why I'm taking
No,
a
you can
picture.
see his head, but you can't tell he's just laying back with his paws up.
No, Dylan is his emotional support human.
You know, we established that early on. I was like, who's supporting who?
Yeah, exactly. No.
You know my dog Mo? You've seen Mo.
Little Shih Tzu?
Yeah, when my wife's not around, he's a fucking just frantic wreck. Just always looking outside.
Where's she at? Where's she
Yeah,
at?
when she gets home, he just...
No, that's Rascal. When Dylan, you can hear Rascal if we go out to dinner or something and Dylan's with us. You can hear Rascal as soon as we get out of the car and start walking to the front door. You can hear Rascal on the other side of the door.
Crying.
Jesus.
Well, that's when I got
like
there
they're
to
getting
pick him up.
tortured.
Yes.
When I got there
if
to
I
pick
walk
him
out-
up, he started crying, walking around knowing Dylan's going to
Yeah,
leave.
he's about to leave. No, when Dylan used to go to his dad's every other weekend, and like at first Rascal was fine with it. Like Rascal would stay home with us all weekend. He was fine, and then Dylan went to his dad's one weekend, and Rascal like whined the entire time. I called Dylan's dad. I'm like, you have to come get this fucking dog. He can't stay here anymore. He has to come to your house with Dylan because he can't stay here without Dylan
Really?
anymore because he
That's why?
cannot
Cries
function
and shakes.
I mean, he was my sister's dog.
Yeah, he was telling
He
me.
lived across
Yeah.
the street and would break out
He
to
told
come
me that,
over
too,
to
yeah.
our house for Dylan.
Do you have like
like,
a little pouch for him?
No,
Do you have?
I should get one.
You should. Have you seen the Austin Powers movies?
Probably, yeah.
no.
You know the little
Probably
mini me
not,
pouch,
yeah.
the little baby pouch.
No.
Where
Yeah.
you gotta get a little something for Rascal there.
Yeah.
So we'll just in that segment on Brandon's an asshole. But going forward,
Best asshole ever.
he is. He's a good dude. He outplayed me, and I'm just pissed. And actually, I'm more
We
pissed. at
warned
Mike.
you.
Mike was all going great. Mind you, we were not playing for money, people. This
Yeah.
was we
Yeah.
were playing for
Cheerios.
beans,
Yeah.
Cheerios.
Chips.
I think
Yeah,
is
chips.
everybody.
Yes,
brought a
everybody
Cheerio.
brought a box of Cheerios.
Yeah. So this is all for entertainment purposes only. Of course,
yes.
we would never have
My
some
husband
illegal
brought
gambling
home all the
ring
Cheerios.
down here and starting our own casino. Not at all. For memberships. No, so all right, man. In closing, what are you thinking? How do we get out of this mess?
Which mess?
Which mess?
I just want. All I'm asking you to do is a very simple ask. Solve all the world's problems right now. Go.
In the next 30
What's the matter?
seconds.
In 30
That
seconds.
ain't
You can't do it?
possible in 30 seconds. That's a lecture of
A little bit of hope, though. You feel like maybe?
What?
You feel like maybe we're good? Maybe we can get out of this? Humanity might survive?
Maybe. It just depends on who throws the first punch.
We need to have a whole... I saw Peggy's eyes glazing over when we were talking about Star Wars, so... He's a Star Wars nerd, and so we might need to do mini podcasts on Star Wars later, but...
He was raised
Peggy
by
was
a kid,
doing
a
this.
Gen X kid.
She was twitching.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about Captain Rex and getting deep dive, and Peggy was just going
And I
comatose.
can go listing off most of the battalions and legions of the clones.
Oh, I know. That's why I want to nerd out with you.
Oh, yeah, no,
I'm
he
getting hard on
can
over here.
totally nerd out with you on Star Wars.
Cad Bane.
Yeah,
I got him started on the
He's
good
a-
shit, and then he went on without
I
me.
can't remember the species name. I like him though.
Yeah.
Although he's also like he's a good bad guy because you just want to.
You root for him.
I root for him, but at the same time, I'm like, man, he is too good at being a bad guy.
No, he's a great character. All right. Well, we're going to nerd out again. Thank you for coming on, sir.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure if I'm glad you came on again or not. And you were just over here playing drums all night, so I don't know what that was. But you got a beautiful family. You guys, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for
My
having
sister's
us.
mad that I got to come on here before
Oh,
her.
yeah, she's pissed. She's
Uh-oh.
like, none of you are even interesting, and he wants to talk to all of you.
No,
Oh,
she
yeah,
said.
she is mad about it.
No,
Does she
she
need to
said
come
none of
on?
us are funny.
None of us are funny.
I don't
Yeah,
want to talk to her. I don't
She's
know.
a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not almost
I
just
want another woman in the room present. I'm not
Yeah.
being alone in the room with a 15-year-old girl for legal reasons. But I would talk to her with another adult present.
Yeah. Oh,
You know what it's like being a man in this world? I gotta have
No.
cameras everywhere I go.
yeah.
you should.
I
Yes.
can't. I
That
can't.
saves you
Absolutely.
as well as everyone
That's
else.
right.
Oh yes.
So
Yeah. After you do a few bumps, you don't know what you're doing.
I mean, hey,
I mean, jokes, people. God
Yes,
damn it.
yes.
Jeez. Lighten up. All right. Good podcast, brother. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Nux.
Yeah.
And thank you too, little
That's cool.
old rascal. I think he's dying
little tongue
on
hanger.
the screen right now.
His legs crossed there.
Come on, buddy.
Kick
Oh
back.
my god.
He's like, oh, he finally got out of my
Yeah,
seat.
now I get over there. Look at his tongue hanging out.
Oh yeah, he can't keep his tongue in his mouth anymore now that he doesn't have any teeth.
Yeah, and he just
Huh?
likes.
Tell him, quit making fun of me, bitch.